म्यूट हो जाएंगे हम।
नया पेपर बना लो।
The way I'm medical advisor Intas Pharmaceuticals. On behalf of Intas Pharmaceuticals, I invite you all for the Symbiosis series webinar 6 on the topic Let's Talk Medical Legal. It's a symbiosis between Foxy and Bhopal Obstetric Gynec Society. Now we will have small lamp lighting ceremony. Just a minute. Slide is not moving actually. Just a minute.
Yeah. As is customary, before every good thing we do, whether it is academic or otherwise, we should take the blessings of Almighty. So we will start a formal lamp lighting.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
So it's now a privilege to introduce Dr. Monica Singh. Dr. Monica Singh. Dr. Monica Singh is consultant reproductive medicine, Bhopal Endoscopy and Maternity Center. She is professor at LN Medical College and JK Hospital. She is vice president of Bhopal Obstetrics and Gynec Society. She is managing committee member ISAR. She is honorary secretary MP chapter ISAR. She is also co-convener of ISAR Perfection series and convener of this Foxy Symbiosis webinar series. Now over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Vishal. I think we are on the 6th episode of Symbiosis today, and we must thank Foxy, and Dr. Jaideep Tank is there. All the office bearers are there with the blessings of Dr. Jaideep Tank, President Foxy, Dr. Madhuri Patel, Secretary General Foxy, Dr. Ajay Mane, Vice President Foxy, and Dr. Jyoti Banglowala, Chairperson, Foxy Ethics and Medical Legal Committee. This webinar has seen the day of light, and we are having very good speakers today who will enlighten us. I think there are so many webinars on medical legal aspects of our practice, which are day in and day out we are seeing. But this webinar has tried to bring all the acts together. Not only are we talking about ART Act, we are also talking about MTP Act. We are also talking about POXO. We are also talking about clinical scenarios. So not only do we have the, the stalwarts like MC Patel and Dr. Bhaskar Pal, but we also have Dr. Nitish Murdia, who's in the totally commercial part of the ART sector, handling a big chain of IVF centers. And then we have an interesting panel discussion for which the panelists have been drawn from all parts of India. So I really thank Foxy for it. And now I would like to hand over the program to Chairperson Committee, Dr. Jyoti Banglowala, after a small introduction of her. She is a very great and dear friend with more than 28 years of experience as an obstetrician and gynecologist, and she has just been elected as the chairperson of Foxy Ethics and Medical Legal Committee. She has held several prestigious positions in Indore OBGY Society, including the vice president, which she is at present, and she is also the IMA representative for the MTP Committee of Indore. She has held several conferences and workshops successfully in Indore and outside, recipient of the MS Signature Award, recipient of Wonder Foxian Award, recipient of Indore IMA Corona Warrior Award by MP government, which is something she's very proud of, as well as the Nari Shakti Award and the Dhira Award. We are so blessed to have you here, Dr. Jyoti, and over to you for introduction of the Foxy office bearers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And good evening, each and everyone who is attending the program. And good evening, our respected President, Dr. Jaideep Tank, sir, respected Secretary General Madhuri Patel, madam, my VP in charge, Dr. Ajay Mane, sir, Dr. Mandakini Meg, and all the my seniors and colleagues. Actually, it is my very proud privilege to do a webinar with Symbiosis series, because Monica is a dear friend, and plus actually she is picking up the topics, a very pertinent topic. And the Dr. Jaideep Tank, actually I do not want to introduce him formally. Everybody knows who he is. Just I am the privileged one who can say he is a leader with a vision and path to realizing it. And he believes in the empowerment of others and trusting in the equal matters also. When we started working with him, we are actually a bit obsessed that what he will be saying about our little skills about this new tech friendly things. But he is so patient that we are truly actually privileged, and saying him is the true inspiration for us all. And actually starting the committee chair work under leadership of Dr. Jaideep Tak is something very different, and you can see all the programs which are going on through the just after January, the pattern, the things we are covering. So thank you, Jaideep sir, for blessing us in this program. And for just 3 lines, I just want to say he is the Secretary General of Federation of Obstetric and Gynecologic Society in 2018 to 21, project lead in Foxy USAID project in 2020 to 24. He was the past president. He is the past president of Mumbai Obs-Gynae Society and Deputy Secretary Asia Oceania Federation of Obstetric and Gynecology. Immediate past chair International Federation of Obstetric and Gynecology FIGO Committee of Safe Abortion, past chair Publication and Newsletter Committee AFOG, past chair Reproductive Endocrinology and Infertility Committee AFOG, and past chair MTP Committee FOXY. And very proudly we are saying that he contributed to the electronic membership management system and e-voting for FOXY, and developing a completely redacted under friendly consultation for FOXY. We are so proud, sir, and thank you very much for coming to this program. And I
Thank you.
request you to say a few words of blessing for this webinar, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Jyoti, for that very, very warm and very kind introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Let me congratulate you for putting this very important webinar together. I particularly like the fact that this webinar looks very holistically at several of the laws which surround regulation around obstetrics and gynecology. So let me congratulate you, Jyoti, and also acknowledge the presence of Dr. Madhuri Patel, our very dynamic Secretary General, the first Lady Secretary General of FOXY, and of course my dear friend and brother, Dr. Ajay Mane, Vice President, who himself is a very prominent medical legal expert. Let me thank the Bhopal ONG Society led by Dr. Anita and Dr. Shabana as President and Secretary, and congratulate, I believe, Monica, you said that it's the 6th Symbiosis webinar. I know how difficult it is to put a series together. So congratulations to you and Randir for convening these webinar series. And of course, the program coordinators, Dr. Manisha and Dr. Purnima. You put together a real galaxy of faculties over here. Chief guest, Dr. Kiran Pandey and Parikshit, someone who's quite familiar. Ghar ki baat hai in a way. And of course, guests of honor, Dr. Meg Madam, Sneha, Dr. Kavita, and special guests, Dr. Sadhna Madam and Dr. Anita Madam. And such great faculty and such wonderful topics, ART Act, safe documentation in surgery, MTP, and then a panel which will address all the conflations between ART and FOXO and so on. And wonderful speakers, Hitendra, Bhaskar, Dr. Jyoti herself, moderators, MC Patel sir and Dr. Randir Singh, wonderful chairpersons, Dr. Tirupati, Dr. Aruna, Dr. Neelam, Dr. Kalyani, Dr. Meena, Dr. Anjum, and a plethora of panelists with Dr. Anupriya, Dr. Chanchal, Dr. Lata, Dr. Niharika, Dr. Pinky, Dr. Prerna, Dr. Ranjana Jha, Dr. Sadhna Sinha, and Dr. Shabana. Thank you again, Jyoti, for putting this together. I must tell you all that recently we have sent a response to the NMC letter, which asked for suggestions on live surgery and social media. And Jyoti and Subhash, along with Dr. Madhuri Patel, led the drafting of that. And I must thank the Medical Legal Committee, Jyoti, Subhash, and Dr. Patel for drafting that very effective letter. Thank you very much. I'm sure all of you will be benefited by attending this and learn. And I suppose it's important not to get scared, but to be aware of medical legal implications. And that, I believe, should be the message of anything which talks about medical legal issues. Thank you very much again for having me here. It's my pleasure and privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for the blessings. Monica, you want to say something?
I would just like to say that with Jaideep Tang sir, it is always like, you come across a very warm and a person you can talk to anytime, anywhere. And sir is very right. We do not have to be scared of medical legal issues. Knowledge is power. So when you are empowered with knowledge about the act, about the implications of the act, how to tackle and how to take the help of seniors. There are seniors who tell you that they are just a call away. So Jyoti is also going to tell us, I'm just a call away. Just call me if there's any problem. That is a big thing. That is a big thing in a fraternity, which is making Foxy what it is today. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
and thank you. And what we just said in the introduction of Jaideep sir, that he empowers others and actually trusting in equal manners. Everything is done by Jaideep sir, and still he is giving credits to me and me and Subhash. Actually, this is actually something to learn from the big leaders. Thank you very much, sir. And now we welcome our dear Dr. Madhuri Patel, madam, our dearest Secretary General, the first Secretary, Lady Secretary General of the Foxy, very down to earth madam, and who is leading with her soft skills, and actually she do the persuasion rather than the correction. Always she try to correct us in the very soft manner. Never ever I have heard her saying even a rush, yeah, anything. She just showcase the things. She just show the things how to do, and she actually never ever corrects anybody in the wrong manners. Thank you very much, Madhuri Madam, that you are our Secretary General. It is just I'm giving the formal introduction. She was the Joint Secretary Foxy in the 2009, Committee Member FIGO Preterm Birth, Associate Editor General of Obstetric and Gynecology of India, Jogi.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Honorable, no, Madam,
Jyoti,
just
thank you very much. Thank you very
no,
much.
Madam,
Only
actually
thing I
you
would
are,
like to correct here that I am now editor-in-chief of
yes,
Jyoti. That much to
yes,
correct,
Madam.
that's all.
And
So thank
actually, madam, you are very open to each and every member to help. Anytime anyone can mail you. And I saw you mailing, personally, you are mailing the answers. Many time I saw whenever a mail comes, within 5 or 10 minutes, you are typing the answer, typing the things, even you are calling the members. Thank you very much, madam. We are privileged to have Secretary General like you. Just we are asking you for your blessing, madam.
Thank you, Jyoti, for your kind and warm words. And it is, as a Secretary General, I always feel I'm privileged and proud to serve everybody. And whatever difficulties you have, I'm always there to help you out. And this way, your support, without your support, I cannot do this, work. So your support is also very, very important, cooperation. So with this, I would like to say Dr. Jaideep Tang, our President Foxy, very, very, dynamic and soft spoken. And as Jyoti and Subhash and everybody of us realized how quickly he did the work and sent to the government of India about the surgical, showing on the YouTube surgical videos and all. So we have represented it very well, and it was done very quickly within 10 days. Then we have Dr. Ajay, who is another, medical legal person, Ajay Mane, our Vice President Foxy. Then of course Jyoti. I think Jyoti, this is your first webinar. I don't know, but I'm really happy that she has taken over as there, and I'm sure she will do she will do full everything whatever is required. She will do all the things. Then we have of course Bhopal, our president, Dr. Anita Srivastav. She's also today's special guest. Then our Dr. Shabana Sultan, who is a secretary of Bhopal Society. Dr. Monica, she's a convener and VP of Bhopal Society. Dr. Ranbir Singh, convener. Then our program coordinator, Dr. Manisha, Dr. Purnima, and of course our chief guest, Dr. Kiran, Dr. Parikshit. Guest of honor, Dr. Mandakini Meg, Dr. Sneha Bhuar, Dr. Kavita Barnath, and special guest, Dr. Sadhna, along with Dr. Anita. And all my speakers, Dr. Gitendra Sharma, my dear friend, Dr. Bhaskar Pal, then Dr. MC Patel, and all the panelists, chairperson, and all my dear friends. Very good afternoon to all of you. I would like to thank the
Namaskar,
committee chair,
ma'am.
Dr. Jyoti, Dr. Jaideep, Ajay, and the Bhopal Society for giving me this opportunity. I don't have to say much about this because our medical legal experts are here, committee is there. So I'm not going to talk about the topics or anything, but the topics are excellent, the panel is excellent, and we as an obstetrician should know everything about MTP Act, POXO Act, ART bill, everything we are supposed to know. But my golden, things I always remember myself that we have to do counseling, and counseling of the patient and relative. On top of it, we have to do consent. Consenting, verbal consent is not enough. You have to do, written consent. And third is documentation. These are very, very important. Nowadays, documentation, you don't write time and date. That is very, very important. You have to document that. Because in obstetric, you find lots many medical legal problems, especially in surgical line. So we have to be prepared. We are going to face as an obstetrician more and more this problem. But if we have counseling, written consent and documentation, in law of court, we are definitely going to win the case because it has been written. There are so many research articles, they say that even NHS says the majority of the cases are can be defendable, but because the documentation is not proper, they are not defendable. So my message: counseling, written consent, and documentation. With this, I congratulate the organizer for the most step webinar and wish them best luck. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhuri Madam. Ethics and Medical Legal Committee is actually done the 5 webinars and 1 workshop, and this is the 6th one, Madam.
So sorry, I must have attended.
Correct,
No, madam. No,
Because
no,
every
madam.
day
Actually,
4 to
you
5
are
webinar I'm attending, so
every day you are attending webinars, madam. It is actually very difficult to, and every time the different committees are actually bring up one webinar, so it is difficult to identify who is doing. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you for your kind words. It seems your voice is little, actually, you're not well.
little
Thank you
better.
for joining. Still, you have joined this webinar in time. Thank you very much. And now I've please display the CV of Dr. Ajay Mane, sir. Thank you very much for coming, Dr.
Yeah,
Ajay
Jyoti ma'am,
Mane,
we can
sir.
skip that. We can skip that.
Yes. No, sir. You are
No, no.
Dr. Ajay Mane, sir, our VP in charge, and he is just a means for the brotherly figure to many of us who guides. Actually, he is the leader. Means he just shows he is a friend, but he's a very soft leader. He is a good listener, active listener with the growth mindset. He listens to everything you are saying and then just put a single point, which is a very important point, and you missed it all the time. And Dr. Ajay Mane sir at the end says, just do this. Actually, we are very, very opportunate to have Dr. Ajay Mane as our VP in charge. He himself is a big medical legal consultant, and still he always say, whatever you want to do, do. I will there. Don't worry, I am here. So with this word, I just giving a formal introduction of Dr. Ajay Mane. He is the Vice
Yeah, we
President
can skip.
Foxy and
Jyoti
second
ji,
Joint
we can
Secretary of AMOGS.
अरे बहना छोड़ दीजिए, छोड़ दीजिए.
And actually, the most important thing, he is doing the medical legal consultation since last 18 years free of cost, and it is a very commendable thing. We welcome you, sir, and just
Thank
want your blessings. Please bless us.
Thank you, thank you. हमारी बहन है ज्योति, उनका सुनना पड़ता है हमको. So thank you very much. अभी respected Jaideep sir, whatever qualities Jyoti ma'am told ना, that quality belong to Jaideep sir. हम उन्हीं से सीखते हैं. He is so humble, he is so क्या उनके जैसा आदमी नहीं फॉक्सी में. He is the only one, Jaideep sir. So we are following him basically. And respected Madhuri madam and हमारी बहन ज्योति जी, भोपाल सोसाइटी के अनिता जी, शबाना जी, and my new sister from Bhopal, Dr. Monica ji, Randhir bhaiya, हमेशा
Yes,
we
sir.
are
Namaskar,
together.
sir.
Yes, namaste, Manisha ji and Purnima ji. So and today's chief guest, Kiran Pandey ji, हमारा परिचित भाई, छोटा brother, and guest of honors, respected Mandakin madam, respected Sneha ji, and Kavita Varnal madam, and special guest Sadhana ji and Anita Srivastava. Today's topics are very nice. MTP, POXO, ART, 3 laws, and documentation. Almost all medical legal points are covered in this webinar. So you listen carefully, record it, and keep it with you. So you will be 99% free of your allegations or any problems in medical legal field. So congratulations, Jyoti and Dr. Monica, for arranging this. So I wish you all the best for the webinar and the series. And okay, sorry. I thought Mandakini Madam is saying something. So best luck for the series and best luck for the today's webinar. And the speakers, Gitendra sir, Bhaskar sir, Jyoti ji, MC Patel sir, and Randir bhai, all, and the panel mostly. I would like to endorse the chairpersons, Sheshai, Arunaji, Nidam, Kalyani, Meena, Anju Singh, and Anu, Priya, Chanchal, Lata ji, Niharika, Pinky, Prerna, Ranjana ji, Sadhana, and Shabana ji. So all are welcome, and thank you very much for joining this important webinar and giving your participation in Jyoti's mission. Thank you very much. Best luck.
Thank you very much, sir, for the kind words. And with this, I am handing over the mic to Dr. Monica Singh, the convener of this program.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Thank you, Dr. Ajay Mane, for the kind blessings. And it is always encouraging to have seniors like Dr. Ajay amongst us. And post or no post, he's always there to help. Dr. Madhuri Patel, I must mention, Madam has attended Symbiosis right from Symbiosis 1. The first Symbiosis I did with Perinatology Committee, Madam was there, and she was there for nearly 1 hour, and she is very encouraging, very very warm welcome she extends to all of us. So now coming to the chief guest, I invite our chief guest and welcome them warmly to Symbiosis 6. Our chief guests are Dr. Kiran Pandey and Dr. Parikshit Tank. Can I have the CVs? Dr. Kiran Pandey, ma'am, is right now the chairperson of the Medical Education Committee of FOXY. We also know her as professor and former HOD of the Department of OBGY in GSVM Medical College of Kanpur, which is one of the most premier medical schools of India. Professor in GMC Jalao of UP also, and ICOG Governing Council member in the years 21 to 23. She has been a peer reviewer in the Journal of Obs and Gynae since 21. She has headed Kanpur Menopause Society, Kanpur Obs Gynae Society, and the UP State Chapter of AGOI. Madam, we welcome you. We are yet to see such a keen academician who is also into FOXY, who is also into IMA, and we are blessed to have you amongst us. And ma'am, could we have few words of blessings from you? Is Kiran ma'am here?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Monica. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so congratulations at the outset. I'm very thankful to Dr. Manisha for inviting me. And
Kiran ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Ma'am, I think the connection.
Yeah.
To be chief guest at such a
The voice is not clear.
Kiran ma'am, I think your signals are weak.
Madam is little far, I think.
Am I audible? Hello?
Your voice is breaking.
Kiran ma'am, because of your driving, no, I think his voice is breaking.
I think we lost.
Can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you.
So I think we wait for Madam to rejoin, and till then I will introduce our chief guest for today, Dr. Parikshit Tank. We are very honored to have you amongst us, sir. And Dr. Jaideep Tank and you two are from two stars from one family. in Foxy and spreading your rays of wisdom amongst everyone who is, under you, working with you. Sir is consultant, Ashwini Maternity and Surgical Hospital, the Center for Endoscopy and Assisted Reproduction in Mumbai, as well as consultant at Jupiter Hospital, Thane, and also consultant for assisted reproduction at 20 centers across the country. Sir is treasurer of Foxy, chairperson of Safe Motherhood Committee of Foxy.
Dr. Monica, may I request you not to read my whole CV? I think it just consumes a lot of time, and I wanted to just convey to everybody who is present here today, especially the delegates, that this is an excellent initiative that the Medico Legal and Ethics Committee of Foxy has undertaken to have these kind of programs, because how much ever we talk about medico legal issues, medico legal problems, and the ways to counteract them, it's never enough, because the moment we are faced with these situations, there is always a hesitancy, there is always something more that we could have done in those situations. So I wish you all the very best, especially the program conveners, uh, Dr. Monica Singh and Dr. Randhir Singh. Manisha Jain is here and she has been constantly in touch, Dr. Tiwari, and of course the chairperson of the committee, Dr. Jyoti Banglowala, and all the Foxy office bearers. A very good afternoon, and I wish all of you happy learning. And this webinar is surely going to have some very important messages for the delegates.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sir, and sir, for the record, we have this webinar available on YouTube. So anyone who misses it or wants to, listen to a particular talk later on, they can always, in the comfort of their homes, they can start this webinar anytime again.
That's an excellent initiative, because, even I may not be able to stay throughout this webinar, even though I know that it's a very interesting program.
So not only do the Symbiosis webinars, but all the Perfection series, they are permanently recorded on YouTube and avail the links.
Excellent initiative.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for joining. Thank you.
Good members, like now today the Central ART member, Dr. Nitin Mudia is a speaker. So we always take expert things.
That's right.
Actually, creating awareness is the must thing nowadays. Just with the jumble with the words is not the best.
Am I audible
To
now?
create. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Kiran ma'am.
Yes, Kiran ma'am. Continue.
Okay, I'm so sorry. That was because I'm traveling, so that probably the
No
signal
problem.
suddenly went. So just 1 minute, I will not take much of your time because time has been disturbed already. At the outset, I wanted to say my regards and respect to Dr. Jaideep Tank, our president, Dr. Madhuri Patel, Dr. Ajay Mane, a very soft person and so nice to speak with it. And my the other guests, I saw Dr. Mandakini is there, Dr. Parikshit is there, and all the wonderful speakers like Dr. Kitendra is there, Dr. MC Patel, and so many of honored personalities there. Basically, well, the topics selected, of course, we know the medico-legal problem into the medical field are much, and care landscape is there, and challenges and facts. Every time we talk of so many, I've attended many of the medical legal programs, and they are really becoming very, very important because, and the main important issue I want to give message to all the audience. Important thing is to follow them is also very important. Medical advancements are there. Our diagnosis are changing. Our working is pattern of managing this diseases is changing. At the same time, we should also be changing our attitude for the patient's records. The data keeping is very, very important. That somehow the doctors, they do so much, but they don't write exactly what they do. And that is what becomes a problem whenever a medical legal case comes. And we all know by experience that the maximum cases are on the obstetricians and gynecologists are involved. So we should be more and more careful. And thank you, Dr. Manisha, for taking up this wonderful series. Definitely, I would like to be always, whenever the chance comes, to be part of it and join also throughout. At the moment, it becomes difficult, but I'm always interested. I have been with Dr. Patel also many times. So wonderful, and I'm sure the audience will go with clear-cut messages from the speakers for their which they follow. I'm very sure that majority of the issues will be covered without even if something happens, we can always win by giving showing the documents and because our knowledge, our doctors are always
Madam, voice is on again.
of the society, they think. And we have to thank you and congratulations, Jyoti. Okay. So I will not take much time. I think it is the network problem. So please go ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Kiran.
Kiran ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Very soon
Thank
we
you.
will be having, ma'am, Medical Education Committee in Symbiosis. Very soon in April, by my coordinators and I will get in touch with you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Sure. Most
Yes, ma'am.
welcome, most loving. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kiran, ma'am, for your blessings. Over to Dr. Jyoti Banglowala again to introduce our guests of honor.
Yes, it is a humble opportunity to introduce our dear Dr. Mandakini Meg Madam, a very senior and very dear leader of ours, who is very warm, outgoing, and she is the people person. Every time you ask her, she will say some good things to you. She will advise you some good things. So here I am introducing her formally to our dear Mandakini Madam. She is the chairperson ICOG Foxy in 2020 to 22 and President Association of Medical Women Wing in India and Central Council, International Vice President MWIA Central Asia, National Vice President Foxy 2012 to 13, member of FIGO Committee on Infections During Pregnancy, member of AFOG Reproductive and Sexual Health Committee, past president of Indian Federation of Ultrasound and Medical and Medicine and Biology, past dean of Indian College of Medical Ultrasound and chairperson of Imaging Science Committee. Actually, it is a very small info. If you read the Mandakini Meg Madam's original info, it is almost 4 or 5 pages. And actually, everybody is so envious about your all the things, and we are so opportunate. Actually, we are always we say मंदाकिनी मेघ मैडम हमारे एमपी की हैं, मंदाकिनी मेघ मैडम हमारे उज्जैन की है, मंदाकिनी मेघ मैडम हमारे इंदौर की है. We welcome you, madam, on this webinar. Kindly bless us with your few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Stop sharing, please.
Stop the screen share.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. And it's a great pleasure that I'm again on the soil virtually of the MP, and that too Bhopal. So very, very warm. Whenever I see Jyoti and Monica and other people from Indore, ऐसा लगता मायके में आ गए. So I feel very, very comfortable and very nice. So thank you, Jyoti, for introducing me. Of course, I belong to Ujjain and my education was in Indore Medical College. And here I just want to make a statement here that I met Monica and Ranveer on a surprise inspection of their clinic. When I was doing a surprise NMC inspection of the MP in the law of the PCP-NDT. And I went to Devas, I went to other places. There were some problems, but when I went, I want to mention here because it is all connected with the law and who is organizing this particular seminar. their personality and their positive things has to be brought out. That is how I'm telling. When we went to Monica's clinic, that Bhopal test tube baby center, and to my great surprise, I was accompanied by the Joint Secretary, Government of India, myself, Deputy Director, and the record which they have presented to us, we examined around 10 centers that time. The record which was presented to us by Monica and Ranveer, till now, Ranveer, I got those photographs. I displayed in the Foxy Managing Committee meeting. That was the best record kept, I think, in whole of my 40 years of my PCP NDT. I took the copies and I displayed wherever I used to go. I said 100 out of 100 marks is for the center. And this is not exaggeration. This is not at all an exaggeration. This is coming out of the heart. And in the evening where I was staying, Monica brought nice khichdi made by her mother and all. And it was wonderful. I gave this message to all the medico-legal persons of practicing obstetrician that at one place in Devas, though the, their certificate of PCPNDT was expired, and that lady was, Devas lady was doing the ultrasound. I said, अरे आपका तो expire हो गया. तो बोले मैडम आप जरा कलेक्टर से बात कर लीजिए, हम लोग तो रोज अपना सर्टिफिकेट भेज रहे हैं, ये रोज के 50 पेशेंट आते हैं, उनको कहाँ भेजेंगे? I was really moved, and I said, I talked to the collector, if you don't have time for the doctors who are, serving to the poor patient, they are not earning, they are serving, because their ultrasound machine is for their, reducing the maternal mortality. And then the collector realized his mistake. So what I'm trying to bring it to you, that in the Bhopal or in the MP area, people are so much aware, and that is how you are keeping this seminar, Monica, Jyoti and Foxy, Ajay Mane, everyone of the Foxy, our Jaideep Tang, I think you are doing a great job. And you yourself are an example of a good practices in the medical legal. That message I want to give it to everybody. I was fortunate to be working on both the sides, because I was a deputy director in charge of the medical termination of pregnancy. Ajay Mane is here, everybody knows that, Bhaskar knows, and Maharashtra was leading on the top in the MTP program, where we had IPAS, syringes there, with training of 600 medical officer, and the amendment also was done in 2003, when, Government of Maharashtra suggested that there should be 2 types of registration, whether it is first trimester and the second trimester. There are many things which we have done, but I'm extremely, extremely proud that I am the person who has worked in the government side on a very high post, as well as on the Foxy side also. And that is how always Jaideep always says about me, I am a very good connection between the Foxy, and wherever there is any difficulty, in the middle of the night, I think somebody mentioned just now, Kiran or somebody, that whenever they mention that in the middle of the night, if they say that something is going wrong, I will be the first person, to help them and give them the proper guidance. So I think, thank you, Monica, Bhopal Society, Jyoti, and the Foxy. I can acknowledge the presence of Bhaskar, Parikshit, Ranveer, all the seniors, Meena Sawant, Pailagu Meena Sawant, then and all of you. And I think it is going to be great guns. Along with Ajay Mane, Jaideep, I will like to give my number also whenever you have any difficulty. And second, the last message which I want to give, always keep a good contact with your local authorities. Because in my office, Mantralaya, everybody used to come, Madam, patient ki death ho gayi, ab kya karenge? So we used to, give them proper guidance, not that trouble them or something, frighten them, nothing like that. We were very supportive. And that same thing I am telling all the senior leaders, that we should be supportive, and you must have good contact with the state authorities, local authorities, and they are very good. I promise you, they are really good if you, approach them in a good manner. So all the best for this wonderful seminar. And Monica, keep inviting me whenever there. I will just try to give my inputs, and I think best of luck to everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. One word I will tell you, ma'am. What last word you have told, that you have to have a good rapport with your local authority. Just 2 days back, I got a call in the night from Punjab. The doctor shifted his premises in ART. Just she has paid 4.5 lakh because you have to pay 2 plus half, 4.5. Now the Punjab is asking again the fees. So I required, so madam, what I told as per legal, you need not to pay. But मैंने क्या बोला madam, आप उनसे लड़ाई लड़ेंगे, ultimately वही authority आके आपको register करेगी. So please, so that I take home message, ma'am, that you have to be local yet. And one more I'm adding, ma'am, on this platform. Last week, Madhya Pradesh government, they have started MP online, that you have to do the online recording with the thumb and OTP. So locally we oppose them along with IMA and all Foxy branch. But the take home message is that you have to do a good liaising with the local authority. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. One more thing, Ranveer, sorry, I'm taking little time.
Yes, no, sure, ma'am.
One more thing, because whenever we are giving lectures, whether it is PCPNDT, whether it is ART, in Maharashtra, I brought this GR on the 14th June, where the ART centers were not being registered, but because of my efforts, we got the GR. One thing, one doctor called me from the UP, very famous endoscopy surgeon. That time she was general practitioner. She said, "Madam, मेरी seal हो गई machine, आप मेरे को बताओ." रात को 12 बजे. I said, "But मेरे lecture में तो आप उठ के चले गए थे." I told her in the middle of the, मैंने तो आपको उठते हुए देखा है. तो तब अगर आप ये सुन लेते मेरा lecture तो आपको trouble नहीं होती. So what I'm just trying to convey in a very humorous manner, that the attendees should also listen. You cannot keep on repeating continuously this act. Of course you will get, but they should also listen and retain it. That is my message to them. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, when we have to write our vision or our mission, I just wrote to keep the maintain the awareness, the spread the awareness about the medical legal issues. It is just not knowing everything about the law, but just keeping our delegates, our attendees, our members, few things, few daily basis laws like MTP or ART or PCP entity, it will save them. It will save them. It is not know each and everything about the law, but at least the basic thing they should know, and they should follow the rule of country. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you for blessing us. And now I am handing over mic to Monica again.
Yeah, Dr. Sneha Bihar is a guest of honor, Dr. Jyoti. So
Yes.
It is my proud privilege to introduce Dr. Sneha Madam. Dr. Sneha Madam is not like she is my elder sister, and she has guided me right from the beginning of my career in Foxy until now. My morning starts with one sweet message from her. So, Madam, I am blessed to have you, your blessings. She is a very dynamic AMOX chairperson of the Medical Disorders Committee of AMOX. And Madam has just been the recipient of the Best Committee Award, ma'am. So she was in the recently concluded AMOX conference in Pune. She was the recipient of this award. As well as she has done a phenomenal amount of work, not only in Maharashtra, but in the place she is practicing, Yavatmal. She works 24/7. I have seen her last 15 years working. And Madam, we wish you all the best in the forthcoming election. We want to see you take over in your dreams. Thank you, ma'am.
I think Dr. Kavita Banwal.
So a very good afternoon, one and all, respected seniors and dear friends. Respected President Foxy, Dr. Jaideep Tank, Madam Secretary General, Madam Madhuri Patel, Vice President of Foxy, my dear brother, Dr. Ajamane, Chair of Medical Legal and Ethics Committee of Foxy, Dr. Jyoti, my dear friend, and of course, Monica and Randeep, the conveners of this webinar. First of all, a hearty congratulations to all of you for organizing such an important and very informative program, that is Symbiosis, with the Ethics and Medical Legal Committee of Foxy. I thank all of you for making me the part of this and the opportunity for being the guest of honor. I'm very happy to share this dais virtually though with dear friend Dr. Kiran Pandey, the Chair of Medical Education Committee, Dr. Parikshit Tank, Treasurer of Foxy, a very illustrious personality, and of course, the guest of honor, Madam Mandakini Meg, a very senior, experienced obstetrician from Mumbai, Dr. Kavita Banwal, the chair of Urogynec Committee. We've got very illustrious speakers. Dr. Jitendra Sharma will be speaking on intricacies of ART Acts. Dr. Bhaskar Pal, a very dear friend, speaking on the safe documentation on surgical practice. And of course, we have the chair herself speaking on the very important medical legal aspects of gynae. Of course, the MTP Act is going to speak on, and Dr. M.C. Patel and Randeep Singh moderating the panel on ART Act and POXO. Thank you, Dr. Anita Srivastav, the president of Bhopal Society, Dr. Shabana, my dear friend, the secretary of Bhopal. Of course, we have Dr. Sadhna Mehta, the president of Indore Society, and a very good afternoon to once again Chairperson Dr. Tirupati, who is the president of Chittur, Dr. Aruna Kumari, the president of Anantapuram, Dr. Neelam Sinha, president of Muzaffarpur, Kalyani Singh, the president of Saharasha, Dr. Meena Samant, my dear friend, president of Patna Society, and Dr. Anju Singh, and of course the coordinator, Dr. Manisha Jain, and Dr. Purnima Tiwari. I thank all of you and congratulate in advance before the webinar itself. I think let us move on to the academic session. Very important, interesting topics. I'm sure it will be very helpful in day-to-day practice. It's not only the efficient management of the patient, knowing what are the procedures and what precautions, but it's the effective communication, maintaining good documentation as well as communication of the document and documentation of the communication. I think that can lead to the safe litigation-free practice. So once again, I thank all of you, and I'm sure all of you know me, and just an humble appeal to vote for me and support my candidature as Foxy Vice President for the upcoming election from West Zone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we all love you and we will support you from all parts of India. We will support you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And our next guest of honor is Dr. Kavita Banwal, ma'am. And we are also proud to say that she has given consent to the next Symbiosis we'll be doing on 26th of March is with Dr. Kavita Banwal's Urogynec Committee, and she is chairperson of that committee, a very senior consultant and laparoscopic surgeon from Munger, chairperson, Urogynec and Pelvic Floor Repair Committee of Foxy, very dynamic gynecologist, associate professor, Lord Buddha Koshi Medical College, recipient of Padma Bhushan Kamlabai Hospital Award, member of YTP Committee of Foxy, and has been also the organizing secretary of 9th AOG SPJ in 22. Madam has the credit of bringing the DK Tang Trophy for her society in 22. She has been an active member of RCOG and the organizing secretary of the International Critical Care Conference, and has received YTP Champion Award twice. We are blessed to have you amongst us, Kavita ma'am, and we look forward to having a symbiosis with you very soon. Welcome, ma'am, and we would like to have a few words from you, ma'am.
Kavita is not there.
She joined for some time, yeah.
Oh,
She
yes.
was busy, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think, madam,
later on we will take blessings whenever she will join.
Whenever she joins. So we now invite our special guests. Our special guests are none other than the stalwarts of MP. One from the city where Jyoti belongs, president of Indore Obsgynae Society, Dr. Sadhna Mehta, and second, my president from Bhopal Obsgynae Society, Dr. Anita Srivastav. Since their cooperation is so vitally important in Symbiosis, we thought they should be special guests. So we welcome Dr. Sadhna Mehta, madam. She is a very senior gynecologist and laparoscopic surgeon from the city of Indore and has more than 30 years of experience in dealing with high-risk pregnancy, infertility, laparoscopic surgery, and colposcopy. She has been honored by the award from the Limca Book of Records for operating huge paravariant cyst, which was a sort of a news in the newspapers. She has got special expertise in NDVH, has presented papers in several national conferences, delivered lectures, and we are proud to have her amongst us. Dr. Sadhna ma'am, are you there?
No, Sadhna madam is also not there.
Not there. Okay. Dr. Anita Srivastav is there with us, and Dr. Anita Srivastav is a very important part of Symbiosis. She is the person behind the force behind Symbiosis, along with Dr. Shabana, who is my secretary. Madam is president of Gynae Society of Bhopal, 23 to 25. She is alumnus of NSCB Medical College, Jabalpur, residency from GMC Bhopal. at present working as professor at Chirayu Medical College Hospital, Bhopal. She has held several important executive posts in Bhopal Obsgynae Society and has been the recipient of Pfizer Medallion Award in Medicine in 1990. I know her as a keen academician, a very big supporter of all juniors and colleagues whenever they need her, and has a special interest in routine obstetrics, high-risk pregnancy, adolescent health, and cosmetic gynecology. Welcome, Dr. Anita Srivastava, and we would be blessed to have a few words from you.
Thank you, Dr. Monica, for the nice introduction. This is my own society. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can.
This is my own society, and you have done a lot for me, for my society, for me, and everything. Good afternoon, everybody. I welcome you all on behalf of Bhopal Obs and Gynec Society, Dr. Jaideep Nag, Dr. Madhuri Patel, Dr. Mane, and all the other dignitaries who are present here and who are always with us, helping us to create a good environment of academic interest, for our personal interest, and to help us to grow step by step. Our ultimate goal is to ensure optimal outcome in all our patients, whether it may be a gynec patient or it may be an obstetric patient. And while we are doing it, we face so many challenges, and we take our decision then and there according to our knowledge, according to the knowledge of our colleagues, according to the knowledge of some our experts who have given us or told us something about that, which we recall at that time. But meanwhile, we have to understand the rules and the laws. If we don't know the laws, we can land up in trouble anytime. And in this way, this webinar, which you are conducting today, Dr. Monica, is very important to all of us. And I hope you will be doing new webinars on many of the new chapters, taking the Bhopal Society to a higher height. A new achievement is always waiting for you. Go ahead and do something new for us, and we'll be with you always. I know you since last 30 years and you are very laborious, and your vision is something great. So we want all the other dignitaries from all over the India to help us to propagate a new knowledge, a new wave of new learning experience to all over India. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita Didi. Thank you so much.
Madam has joined.
Sadhna ma'am has joined. Dr. Sadhna, are you there?
Yes.
Sadhna ma'am, would you like to speak a few words for us?
Yes. Just
ma'am, we have introduced.
Hello, can you hear me, Monica Mani?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I thank you, Dr. Monica, Dr. Randir Singh, the Bhopal Society, Dr. Shabana, Anita, Manisha, and all who have done a lot of efforts for arranging such nice webinars for our Foxians, for the sharing of their knowledge, for their upbuilding of this thing, all the whatever the updates are there in the obstetrics related to medical legal issues. And thank you for inviting me. And I've seen galaxy of stalwart speakers and so many people here who has joined. It's a nice webinar, nice initiative taken up by you, Monica Mani, for the knowledge sharing, for everyone Foxian, so that they come to know everything about it, about the different aspects of obstetrics as well as medical legal issues. And we have arranged such good webinars previously also and this time also. So I congratulate you and Dr. Randir for such untiring efforts in arranging such good webinars. So I thank you and congratulate you on such a important topic. And I'll not take much of your time. Once again, thank you. all the stalwarts, all the speakers, Dr. Madhuri Patel, Dr. Jaideep Tang, Dr. Parikshit, Dr. Anita, Dr. Shabana, Dr. Ajay Mane, and so many others. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Monica, for inviting me in such an important webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And madam is very closely associated with Brahma Kumaris, and you can sense that in the way she speaks and communicates. Satna, ma'am, we'll be having you as a speaker very soon in the next few webinars. My coordinators will
Yes.
get you. Thank you so
Yes.
much
Thank you.
for
Thank
joining
you
us.
so much.
And
Thank you.
now I
Thank
would
you.
like to introduce my coordinators for today. The girls behind me, the girls who have taken this program forward, and all the bouquets come to me, but the two flowers are Manisha and Purnima. You must have, everybody knows them by now, all over India, the way they work, the way they, work 24/7, call everyone, remind everyone, send beautiful messages. This is just that power of communication and how it connects people. Manisha is my treasurer, a very active member of Bhopal Ops Gynae Society, a professor in a medical college, a keen academician. We welcome you, Manisha. Coming to Purnima, she's another junior who is training with us. She's working in Apollo Sage Hospitals. Can we have Purnima's slide? She is an alumnus of Maulana Azad Medical College, Delhi, a very keen academician, recipient of Manish Banker Award in the recently concluded ISAR Bhubaneswar. We welcome you, Purnima. And now we are just eager to start our academic program. Manisha, can you take it forward from here and introduce the Bhopal office bearers, please?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Briefly, I'd like to introduce our Monica Singh, ma'am, who's already the convener of this program and already as needs no introduction. Yeah. And Dr. Ranjit Singh, sir, who is the co-convener of this program, a certified embryologist.
Manisha, we can skip this. We can skip this. Let us go to Bhopal Ops Gynae and start.
I'd like to introduce the office bearers of the Bhopal Open Society, Dr. Anita Srivastu, madam, and Dr. Shabana Sultan, who are the backbone of all this program. Without whose support, we could not have seen this date. Anita has already been introduced. She is the most generous, kind, hardworking, and very polite president that we have seen so far, and always supporting us in each and every her activities. She's currently the president, and she's already been introduced. Next is Dr. Shabana Sultan. She is the secretary of the Bhopal Optometry Society. Can we have a CV, please? Yeah, she's headed the Bhopal Optometry Society in different capacities. Currently, she is the secretary and head of the Department of Gandhi Medical College, Bhopal. She has a keen interest in gynec oncology, and she has done a lot of work in gynec onco. She's been the master trainer of cervical screening program, and she has presented many papers and national faculty to many conferences. I welcome Dr. Shabana. With this, now we move on to our academic session. And can we have the next slide, please?
Let us move to session 1, Dr. Vishal. Yeah.
With this, we move to the session 1 of our academic section. To chair the session, we have Dr. Shesha Tirupati, who is the president of Chittoor Ops Gynae Society. Dr. Aruna madam is not able to join us for some personal reason. Dr. Shesha Tirupati sir is currently the president of the Chittoor Ops Gynae Society. He has immense work experience of more than many years. He's worked as army captain for 5 years, worked in government maternity hospital, and currently working at Sukanya Hospital. He's also the FP commissioner of Andhra Pradesh government and is a recognized and well-known laparoscopic surgeon and has been involved in training of the various trainees. I welcome you, sir, and over to chairpersons for the academic session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Seshasai Tirupati.
Madam is not able to join.
Please, madam.
Dr. Vishal, can we have the CV of Dr. Bhaskar Pal, please? Yeah.
Before displaying Dr. Bhaskar Pal's CV, I just want to thank Dr. Tirupati Shesasai sir. Sir, you have made the group for this, all the teaching and everything. And whenever we want anything on in the PDF, in the PPT, you are ever ready to help us all. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shesasai sir. Thank you.
For sharing the information, Dr. Jyoti. We will also be troubling Shesha Sai, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir is traveling actually.
Yes. Dr. Shesha Sai, are you introducing the speaker?
Sir, you're not audible.
Dr. Bhaskar Pal, I'm very great to inform you that I felt very happy to see Dr. Bhaskar Pal. He is the MD DGO, and Senior Consultant Gynecologist, Apollo Hospitals, Kolkata. I am also from the Apollo Medical College and chair endoscopy committee and chair AICC RCOG 2021 and 23. He is immediate past president of IAGE, Foxy representative of SAFOG 21-23, chairman organizing committee AICOG 2023, past president Bengal of Scenic Society, vice president Foxy 2017,
That should be it,
clinical
sir.
examiner MRCOG 43, and author of over 40 papers and book chapters. I'm very glad to introduce him. Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sheshasai, for the kind introduction. I will just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At the outset, I bring you greetings from Kolkata. Those who've been to Kolkata are familiar with some of these pictures. And at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Monica and Dr. Jyoti for inviting me to this program. And as Dr. Monica said, I think Manisha has been immensely persistent and patient with getting our CVs, getting our photos, making sure we are on the program. Okay, I'll be speaking on safe documentation in surgical practice. I think we need to understand that to prevent and minimize medical legal problems, that the first thing we need are, in my opinion, A, B, C, D. Where A stands for that somebody from the team is available for the patient. The B is that we behave nicely with the patient and keep our communication channels open when something goes wrong. C is that we do things right. That means in a competent manner and what is indicated. And D is documentation, what I will speak about today, about documentation in surgical practice.
So you can put a full screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Is that okay now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So I will speak on initial counseling. I'll speak on consent. I will speak on checklist, especially the WHO safe surgery checklist. I will talk a little bit on operation notes and very little bit on post-operative documentation and medical legal aspects of documentation. The initial counseling needs to cover what is the diagnosis for the patient, that we have discussed what are the treatment options available to her and the pros and cons of each of the options, including that what are the consequences of her not getting treated. And then we have to document what is the treatment suggested for her. Now, ideally, this should be done in the outpatient settings during the initial consultations and documented at least on the outpatient sheet, because counseling and consent is a continuous process. It is just not good enough to take a consent on the morning of the surgery where we cover all these points. So a part of a consent goes from the point of outpatient consultation, includes diagnosis, that you've given her the options, you've discussed the pros and cons of the options, and what is the treatment that you have agreed upon, and what are the consequences if she doesn't get treated. Now, in terms of consent, when many years back, and I guess even now in some smaller nursing homes, you'd get something called a blanket consent. Things were much simpler in earlier days. Patient would come in and we would make her sign on a paper which says that I consent to any doctor doing any procedure on me, no longer valid. Now we have moved into informed consent. And informed consent, we've said that what covers, I said in the previous slide. The world, unfortunately, has moved forward and they have got into what is now called a shared decision making, where you give her all the information, what the pros and cons of each, and get into a decision tree. And what you end up is a shared decision. Now, consent can be verbal, a consent can be implied, a consent can be written. The fact that a patient is awake and allows you to put a Venflon means an implied consent. In some situations, like for example, when we are taking a pap smear or examining a patient, we take a verbal consent. We also take a verbal consent when it's a life-threatening emergency and we don't want to waste time getting into a written consent. Happens usually in obstetrics. But ideally, we should take a written consent. Now, who can give consent? Of course, the consent has to be taken from the patient, provided the patient is a major and provided she is mentally sound to give a consent. Who should take it? Ideally, it should be taken by the surgeon or somebody from the surgical team who's familiar with the procedure. When should it be taken? Again, as I said, that taking it in the morning of the surgery is not optimal. Ideally, the consent should be taken before the patient gets admitted. The consent form should be completed while the patient is advised the surgery in the outpatient department. If there is a long wait period between the outpatient consultation and the patient getting admitted, then it can be taken again and the patient can sign it. What does it cover? We've already said that. Now, all elective surgeries require a written informed consent. And as I said, that it should be taken in the outpatient within a reasonable time or after admission, especially if the patient is getting admitted a day or a couple of days prior. What should the consent include? It should include the details of the patient. It should have at least 2 identification criteria of the patient: name, age, inpatient or a hospital identification number. Name of the procedure in lay terms, which means if you are doing a hysterectomy with bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy, it should say that whether it is removal of the uterus and the tubes and the ovaries, and also by which route. The consent form needs to have the name of the patient and the name of the surgeon. The consent form should list what are the alternatives of the procedure that we are planning that the patient has. It should include what are the relevant complications, and by relevant complications, we'd like to divide the complications into minor, intermediate, and major. And the minors are frequent, the intermediate are less frequent, and the major are rare. Many years back, around 20 years back, we would say you need to only list complications which happen with a frequency of 1%. At the present moment, we have to put in complications which happen with a frequency of more than 1% and also something which has got serious implications. Which means if you're doing an ovarian cystectomy, however rare a risk of oophorectomy may be, it has to be written. If you're doing a myomectomy, however rare the risk of hysterectomy is there, we need to talk about it. For example, the risk of thromboembolism, however rare it is, has to be put on paper. And the consent form should also have the consequences of not having the treatment. Now, informed consent is defined as the process in which a healthcare provider educates a patient about the risks, benefits, and alternatives of a given procedure or intervention. The patient must be competent to make a voluntary decision about whether to undergo the procedure. So she must be mentally sound and there should be no coercion. It is both an ethical and legal obligation of medical practitioners. Women also must be treated with courtesy and respect, and their dignity must be maintained at all times, and adequate privacy must be ensured for information giving. And also the timing is important. The patient should not be lying on the OT table when you are taking a signature for the consent, for example. Women should not be given important information or asked to make decisions at the same time as undergoing gynae examinations. And that is the question of respect and dignity and privacy. All women who are 18 or above are considered to have the capacity to give consent unless there is any evidence to the contrary. The patient signs the consent herself, countersigned by a doctor, at least one, but preferably 2 witnesses, out of which 1 witness should be from the patient side and 1 witness should be from the hospital side. For young women and children under the age of 18, consent can be obtained either from a parent or somebody who's got parental responsibility if the parents are not available. With the exception of an unanticipated emergency, the practitioner should not exceed the scope of the authority given by the patient, which means that if you consider a patient only for a laparoscopy and a dye test, and you find hydrosalpinx, you cannot clip that. If you find an ovarian cyst, you cannot remove that. If you find an adhesion, you cannot release that unless you have explicitly discussed that. What is the way out? The way out is in procedures like laparoscopy for a pelvic pain or laparoscopy for infertility, please list the situations that might arise. So in case of pelvic pain, please write possible plus minus adhesiolysis, plus minus removal of cyst, plus minus release of adhesions. In cases of when you're doing a laparoscopy in a patient with subfertility, please write down plus minus clipping of the hydrosalpinx, plus minus treatment to endometriosis, plus minus additional lysis, plus minus removal of cyst. Otherwise, you cannot go in an elective situation beyond the scope of consent. So where possible, prior consent to treat any problem that could reasonably be expected to arise should be obtained, and documentation of procedures before proceeding should take place. This does not hold true in a life-threatening situation. For example, when you have to do an obstetric hysterectomy because of BPH, for example. This will apply particularly when there's uncertainty about the diagnosis or appropriate options for treatment, which may be resolved only when the patient is anesthetized or unable to participate in decision-making. Very typical examples are a pelvic pain where we are not sure of the diagnosis, or infertility where we're not sure what we will end up getting. So no organ should be removed or procedure performed without prior consent unless life-saving, for example, incidental ovarian cyst, clipping of hydrosalpinx, removal of myoma, removal of tube, removal of ovary, treatment to endometriosis. So in the consent, please discuss the possibility of what might arise. For example, for fertility, infertility, we take a consent for a fertility promoting surgery, and we put the examples in bracket. You will need a special consent if you plan to take any photographs, if you plan to do a videography, if you plan to do a live transmission, which is at the present moment is a very hot topic with NMC asking for opinion on that, and we expect the NMC to come out with a guideline on how to go about for live transmission as well as Facebook Live for procedures. If you're going to do a teaching, it is better to take a special consent. Discussion on complications is always the tough task. You do not want to miss out discussing on complications and something happens and the patient takes you to court. At the same time, you do not want to discuss complications in a way so that the patient gets scared and runs away to some other doctor. So it is getting that balance which comes with experience and wisdom. You can actually put the complications as mild, moderate, or severe, or common, uncommon, or rare. Usually the mild ones are common, the moderate ones are uncommon, and the severe ones are rare. It is very good idea to tell them that what is the theoretical risk of a complication and what is the risk in your hands. For example, I would tell a patient that when I'm doing a laparoscopic hysterectomy, the theoretical risk of urinary tract injury is about 1 in 70. In my practice, it is between 1 in 250 to 1 in 500. That reassures the patient to a great extent. Rare complications which have major implications with respect to the procedure have to be discussed. As I said earlier, for example, hysterectomy for myomectomy, oophorectomy in ovarian cystectomy. The extent of discussion will depend on the patient's capacity to understand, and this has been laid out in verdicts in India as well as in abroad, whereas there's something called a Montgomery ruling, which will not get into that. The art in medicine is to discuss and explain the complications without scaring the patient, or discussing in a way that the patient feels more confidence in getting treated by you. For example, how you present information on risk. Means if we say it's a very common risk between 1 to 10%, we say that it is a colloquial equivalent would be about a person in the family. A common one, which is about 1% to 10%, a person in the street. Uncommon, about 1% to 1 in 1,000, about 1 person in a village. Rare complications, which happen between 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 100,000, is a person in a small town. So the elements of documentation of the informed consent would include the nature of the procedure, the risks and benefits and the procedure, reasonable alternatives, risk and benefits of alternatives, and assessment of the patient's understanding of these 4 points. You know that Foxy has got the model consent forms on its website, and the IAG is coming out with its consent forms, which will be launched on the 16th of March. And there also, on IAG website, you will get the model consent forms. Now, the court has said that you need procedure-specific consent forms. This is the consent form that we use, and this is actually about a 20-page booklet, where you can see that the patient label will have identifiers like name, age, hospital ID number, the consultant, and the bed number. And then this is the consent form for the surgery procedure. We write that I hereby authorize for the following treatment, and then the name of the patient. And then we write what would be the benefits of the procedure. We write what are the major risks. Then we write in point number 4 that what are the alternatives to the procedure. Then we write which is a doctor that the patient is entrusting it with. We have separate points for photography, for research participation, etc. And then who signs, the patient and the witness of doctor. If the patient is incapable or a minor, then the patient's representative with a witness and a doctor. This is for the surgical procedure. In the next page, we have a high-risk consent. And this is an indemnity statement where we need to put down the reason for high risk and then name of the relative who is authorizing the surgeon to carry out the operation. This is the reason. What is the reason for the high risk? What are the implications and possible consequences? The signature of the relative and a signature of witness, at least one from the patient side and one from the hospital side. This is especially true where you think an ICU admission or there's a high risk of mortality in a medically high-risk patient. Then we have a separate consent form for anesthesia, which the anesthetist has to get it signed. The key principles for valid consent are capacity, being voluntary, and being fully informed. The patient must have capacity to make an informed decision. She's considered competent to give the consent. She's able to understand the information provided in her own language, and she can communicate her decision. The consent must be provided voluntarily. In most cases, the decision to provide or withhold consent should be by the patient themselves and not by a relative. And the patient should not be coerced or influenced either by carers or by family or by friends. The patient should be fully informed of the following by the carers with enough time allowed to reflect and ask questions, which is benefit and risks of the intended procedure, alternative management strategies, implications of not undergoing the proposed treatment. Now, WHO came out with a surgical safety checklist, which has got 3 parts. There are some things you check when you are signing in, and this is before the procedure. When you are willing in the patient, you check those points. Then there is timeout, where just before the surgery, everybody stops, and then you check a few things. And one is sign out, which is before taking the patient out of the operating theater. In 2008, WHO introduced this checklist, and the purpose was to make sure that necessary actions are performed before, during, and after surgery to improve the safety of patients undergoing surgical procedure. We all know that I think Sridevi's mother underwent on the wrong side of the brain, got operated even in MD Anderson Cancer Center. So it happens, errors happen everywhere. So it's a simple checklist that has been proven to reduce death from surgical complications by 22% and reduce surgical infections by 24%. It is a 19-item checklist, and a single person should be responsible for checking the boxes on the list. And this can be any healthcare professional in the operating team, often the circulating nurse. In our hospital, it is a circulating nurse who has the responsibility for doing this. And it is important that the safety elements are reviewed by all operating theater teams for all patients at all times. It promotes teamwork and communication. It prepares you for the unexpected, promotes an environment that allows anyone on the team to speak up if the patient's safety is at risk. It ensures that you're operating on the correct patient, you're doing the correct operation on the correct site, and safe anesthesia and resuscitation, and minimizes the risk of infection. So the checklist has got 19 items into 3 phases of a surgical procedure. Sign-in is before induction of anesthesia when the patient is still conscious. Time out when the patient is anesthetized but with the surgeon present before the skin incision. And sign out before the patient leaves the operating room. And this is the surgical safety checklist. Before induction of anesthesia, you check with at least the nurse and the anesthetist whether the patient has confirmed identity. Is the site marked? Yes or not applicable? Is the anesthesia machine and medication check complete? Is the pulse oximeter on the patient and is it functioning? Does the patient have a known allergy? Is it a difficult airway or aspiration risk? Is there a risk of more than 500 ml blood loss? Once this is done, the patient is anesthetized, and before skin incision, we perform what is called the timeout with the nurse, anesthetist, and the surgeon. We confirm that all team members are introduced themselves by name and role. Then we confirm the patient's name, procedure, and where the incision will be made. We check whether antibiotic prophylaxis has been given in the last 60 minutes, yes or not applicable. Then we talk about anticipated critical events. The surgeon is asked, what are the critical or non-routine steps? How long will the case take approximately? And what would be the anticipated blood loss? Anesthetist is asked whether there are any patient-specific concerns. And the nursing team is asked whether sterility has been confirmed, including indicated results. whether there are any equipment issues or any concern, and if the essential imaging is displayed in the operating theater. Now, once the operation is complete, before the patient leaves the operating room, the nurse, anesthetist, and the surgeon, they verbally confirm the name of the procedure, the completion of instrument, sponge, and needle counts, specimen labeling, reading out the specimen labels allowed, and whether there were any equipment problems to be assessed, and to the surgeon, anesthetist, and the nurse, whether there are any key concerns for recovery and management of this patient. Not a difficult job, doesn't take long once you take it incorporate into your routine practice. So this is the sign-in, ideally with the surgeon present, and we've discussed that in detail. So I would skip this slide, and this is the timeout, which includes the surgeon as well. And then this is the sign-out procedure with the nurse, anesthetist, and the surgeon. And especially we need to verbalize if there are any concerns in the recovery and the post-operative period. And this is the safe surgery checklist that we followed. You can see that this has got the pre-procedure verification, the timeout documented, and the sign out there. So we have to sign as a surgeon before the surgery starts and even after the surgery ends. So next, once you have done with the procedure, the operation notes needs to have the name of the procedure and the type of anesthesia, the operating team, the date, the start and the end time, the indication for the surgery, the findings in the surgery, the key steps of the surgery, any unusual or unanticipated event or complication or conversion, whether you put in a drain, whether the count checked, what was the blood loss, whether there was an implant put in. If an implant was put in, then we will put the label of the implant, histopathology and any other test sent, and what are the post-operative orders. All these are part of the operating notes. This is our swab needle instrument count record with the nurse and the surgeon has to sign. Two nurses, in fact, have to sign, the scrub nurse as well as the circulating nurse. This is a surgical notes procedure. It goes into 3 pages, these 2 pages, and also, if necessary, go into a 3 pages. You cannot write everything from memory. So it makes us make sure that we write the pre-op diagnosis, post-op diagnosis indication. What have we sent for histopath? If we sent any cultures, any other test we've sent, whether drain, blood loss, findings, significant intraoperative event, for example, conversion to laparotomy in a laparoscopy. And in the end, we write about count, we write about wound closure, we write what the patient position would be in, how long she should be nil orally, and medications. If there's anything, we usually would write here that please check the drug chart. And then in this post-operative advice and plan, this is filled by the anesthetist. This is for the immediate post-operative period, whether we need to continue ECG monitoring, pulse oximetry, how often we should check the blood pressure in the next 2 hours, whether we need any oxygen, etc. Now, in documentation, it is important that every page must have patient identifiers, at least 2. It is a very common practice to document post-operative visits on a page where the patient's identifiers are not there. Always date and time the entry, always use a blank link, because when there is a problem and the papers need to be photocopied, then we can read that easily. Sign and print the name legibly. All notes should be contemporaneous except in an emergency, which means that as soon as you finish doing something, you write it, except in an emergency where you do everything and later on when you find time that you can do that. If you want to add anything on a later date to the surgical notes, please don't go and just add it there. Put a date and time entry and then you make the addition so that you know that you remembered it at a later date when you wrote down. If the patient has complications, please keep a copy of the entire file with you or in the hospital in the safe custody. It is especially there are times when something goes wrong and there have been some verbal altercations with the patient's relatives and etc., threatening phone calls. It is useful to write a narration of the turn of events and not put that in the notes, but put that separately so that it can help your memory if it comes up 2 or 3 years later. So I will end with some carry to work messages. Informed consent empowers women. It also makes it safer for doctors. The checklist improves outcome, reduces errors. It reduces morbidity and mortality. Documentation protects doctors. Systems and processes reduce human error. So every time we cannot expect a human is not a computer to remember everything, and that is why we need systems and processes. And informed consent and checklist must be incorporated into surgical practice. I will end with an appeal. This is my journey in Foxy. I have been in leadership roles since 2005 with the journal, with being a committee chairperson with ICOG. I've been a vice president of Foxy. I've been a convener of Foxy core cells and also representative to and international organization apart from organizing many conferences. And I would like to seek your blessings and support for the post of Foxy President in the election year 2024. The elections would happen in August. I'm very happy to take any questions.
Best wishes, Bhaskar sir. Best wishes to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that was a wonderful talk on documentation, especially what exactly do you mean by time out? That you talked about.
Yes, basically what happens is the surgical checklist has got three parts. One is sign in, one is time out, and one is sign out. Sign in happens when the patient is wheeled into the theater, and it is done by the patient, the nurse, and the anesthetist. The time out happens after anesthesia is given, and that includes the surgeon, anesthetist, and nurse. Everybody says the surgeon introduces, I'm going to operate. Anesthetist says, I'm the lead anesthetist. The scrub nurse says, I'm the nurse. And then you identify that it is the right patient. Then you say what operation you're going to do, where is going to be your incision, whether the site has been marked, are the imaging displayed in the OT, do you expect any blood loss, excessive blood loss for which blood product should be available, etc.
So basically, it is the operating time is called the timeout time.
Just before starting the operation, between anesthesia and putting anesthesia. That is when you do the time.
Do you
Actually,
think
as a team, actually, they have to discuss and actually document it. Most of the time, we discuss as a team, as an anesthetist, assistant surgeon, but we don't document it. And then sometimes we will.
The advantage of checklist is that if you are doing it from memory, you will miss things. If you have a checklist with a tick box, you will not miss anything. And that is the whole purpose of this.
Yeah, that is what accreditations are doing nowadays. Do you think working in a corporate makes it simpler to document?
Well, if you get your hospital NABL certified, or for example, for us it is JCI certified, then you will have to have all these processes there. Otherwise, NABL will not give you accreditation unless you follow the WHO surgical checklist.
That's true. That's true. Thanks for a wonderful talk. I think we can, if Dr. Shesha Sai permits the chairperson, we can to the next session.
Actually, Dr. Shesha Sai is not out.
He's there. He was listening to the talk, I know.
But he's driving actually that time.
Thank you so much for chairing, Dr.
Very-
Shesha.
Thank you, ma'am. Very nice. Excellent way you presented.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, waiting for coordinators to start.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for chairing the session, and thank you, Bhaskar Pulsar, for the wonderful talk and special in this on surgical documentation. With this, we move on to the next session, and for this, we have the chairpersons as Dr. Neelam Sinha ma'am and Dr. Kalyani Singh ma'am. I'd like to welcome you all, ma'am. Dr. Neelam Sinha madam is currently the president of Muzaffarpur Obscurity Society. She has been trained in laparoscopy surgery, and she has worked in different capacities in Sadar Hospital, SKMC, Muzaffarpur, ex-associate professor at RDJM Medical College. She's an ex-clinical secretary and vice president also. She is a life member of IMA, and she has been many conferences and state and national faculty at various conferences. She has been the recipient of Sadhana Desai Award, a recipient of Family Planning Award. I welcome you, ma'am. The next chairperson we have with us, Dr. Kalyani Singh, ma'am. Yeah, madam is currently has many achievements to her credit. She is the chairman of LBKM Medical College, member of the Board of Journal of Gynec and Obsgynae Advancement UK. She was the founder and current president of Saharsa Obsgynae Society, and she is the emeritus professor at Obsgynae Lord Buddha Koshi Medical College. I welcome you, ma'am, and over to chairpersons for the next session. Dr. Giten Sharma sir is not able to join us. Her talk will be taken by Dr. Nitesh Murdia sir. Over to chairpersons now. Dr. Neelam Sinha ma'am. Ma'am, we are not able to listen to you. You are not audible, ma'am.
Neelam ma'am, you have to unmute.
Yes, please show the CV now.
Yes, ma'am.
Please display the CV of Dr. Nitish Murdia.
Sir, welcome, sir. Dr. Nitish Murdia. Okay. Expert member of the National Assisted Reproductive and Surgical Board. Among the many awards he has won, one of the prestigious one is the budding embryologist of the year national gold by the ET Health World National Fertility Award in 2019. Leading team of the 160 embryologists settling educational program for the national and the international candidates, implementing accordingly to the program and the madam not clear.
Madam, it's okay, ma'am. It's okay.
So
Nitish.
Kalyani madam.
Having for the
Dr.
yes,
Nitish
yes,
Modia
yes,
is star
for
of
the clinical
Symbiosis.
excellence.
He's always there to help us.
He has got the many feathers in his cap, but most important is so a special interest in the artificial intelligence, new technology involvement and quality management of the system and digitalization in the IVF lab. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence here. And then you start your talk, sir.
Thank you for joining Dr. Nitish, and thank you for taking Dr. Giten Sharma's talk. At the last minute, I called Dr. Nitish that Dr. Giten Sharma is having some health issues, not able to join, and Dr. Nitish was kind enough to, give me a yes for joining. Thank you so much. Yeah, the screen is all yours.
Nitish sir, please unmute yourself. Dr. Nitish?
Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Neelam ma'am, for the kind introduction, and Dr. Monica. Always a pleasure to be here on the platform. I hope you all are able to see the presentation.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, okay. So I've been asked to speak on the intricacies of the ART Act. So I'll briefly kind of touch upon, what the Act has changed and, brought different things in terms of practice, what we used to do before that and what we used to do, after the Act. So broadly, just a disclaimer, these are my personal opinion. So there are three things which are established now. One is there is a ART clinic, which is a level 1 and level 2 clinic. There is a ART bank, which has been introduced after the Act. And there is again a third thing, which is a surrogacy clinic. Now let us see that what the Act has brought into these three different arenas. So when you have a ART clinic, you have to do a registration as per what is the kind of procedures that you are doing. Mainly for a IUI clinic, you will have to take a level 1 certification, and for a IVF ICSI clinic, you will have to take a level 2 certification. The Act has a defined age for couples to undergo any kind of treatment, be it ART or be it surrogacy. Even the single woman, can now undergo a treatment, and again there is a defined age for it. For a clinic to qualify for a level 1 or level 2, you need to have certain manpower requirements which are mentioned in the law, and there is also equipment required when it comes to ART clinic. The same thing applies for the ART bank also. There is a process of registration. The age of the donors is defined, the manpower requirements and the equipment is defined, and also there is one additional thing which this law has brought in, which is the safety of the donors being the paramount interest of bringing this law into place. And that is why there is an insurance and an affidavit kind of a system being introduced just to take care of the health of the donor. The similar way, surrogacy clinic, there is a process of registration. There is an age defined for a surrogate woman. There are criterias who can go for opt for a surrogacy. There is an age limit for that. There is a manpower requirement. There is a equipment requirement, and there is a lot of these certificates required to qualify a couple undergoing a surrogacy procedure, and it has to be altruistic on the nature. So these are the very broad changes that has happened, and also these insurance and affidavit has come into place for the surrogate mother, just to take care of the health and the safety of the surrogate mother. In this particular presentation, I'll be covering more, on the ART Act, which is the ART clinic. So when it comes to ART clinic, as I was talking, any woman who is from 21 to 50 and any male who is from 21 to 55 can undergo ART treatment in India. The same applies for Indian couples, and even a foreigner coming into India can undergo ART treatment, but they have to qualify the age criteria. The act does not say any age proof to be maintained, but it is always safe for a clinic that you take something which act as an age proof for you later on in case of any inspection or in case of any queries coming from the government. The banks are in place now. So any donor gamete that you are using in the procedure of IUI or IVF, ICSI, you will have to procure them through the bank. A woman shall not be treated for more than one sperm during one treatment cycle. So you cannot mix sperm and do IUIs, or you cannot mix sperm and use them for ICSI or IVF. You will have to use only single sperm. You cannot mix semen of two individuals. The storage and handling has to be properly done. It has to be securely placed, and there has to be a recording and identification of these gametes. It can be checked during the inspection. So make sure that we have a proper system and process in place to ensure that. Any unused gametes, be it sperm, be it frozen sperm, be it oocyte, or be it embryo, cannot be donated to other couples. It has to be used on the same couples only. The sale of the gametes is strictly prohibited, and it's a punishable offense. And if any couple has to move their gametes from one center to second center for their personal use, then it has to be done through the national board. There is a process in place. There are 3 affidavits which has to be signed and sent to the national board, and the approval normally takes around 4 to 5 months for the same. For onco-fertility patients, normally the preservation or the freezing is allowed for a period of 10 years. After a period of 10 years, the gametes have to be either discarded or donated for research. But especially in terms of onco-fertility patients, the period can be extended after the permission of the national board. For a treatment cycle, you can use 1 to 2 embryos to be transferred for a IVF treatment, and in special cases, you can go up to 3. More than 3 embryo transfers is not allowed as per the law. Also, one more thing which has changed is the posthumously collection is only allowed if you have the consent from the person. So if you don't have a consent from the person who you want to collect the gametes, you cannot do a posthumous collection of that particular person. The PGT again is kind of restricted. You cannot do PGT on each and every patient. You cannot do aneuploidy testing on each and every patient. There is restriction that it has to be used only for people who have existable, heritable, or genetic disease, or when it is medically indicated. Only for these type of patient you can use PGT. Again, there are norms in terms of who can do the research in India. So only people who have been registered and permitted by the ICMR can act as a research organizations. When it comes to donor, for a female, it has to be between 23 to 35. So a female donor has to be between the age group of 23 to 35. The donor does not need to be anonymous anymore. They can be related, they can be known, they can be anonymous also. But whatever donation is happening has to happen through the ART bank only. These are the 4 types of tests which are indicated by the law, which is HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and VDRL. These are the minimum tests required to be done on the male and the female donors, but obviously the clinic can do more testing if required. The bank will be the repository of all the information related to the donor. So the bank will have to store the name, Aadhaar number, and the address of the donor into a separate register. When it comes to the male, the age limit for a donor gamete or the donor semen has to be between the age group of 21 to 50 years. And both for a sperm or a oocyte donor, they can only donate to a single commissioning couple. It means one donor going to one couple, they cannot give their donation to multiple couples. Embryos, sperms cannot be stored for more than 10 years. And any use or any transfer or any movement of the embryos has to be approved by the national board. There is also a restriction in terms of the oocyte donor. They can only donate their oocyte once in the lifetime, not more than once. All the oocytes that are retrieved has to be used on the same commissioning couple. Initially, there was a law which said that only 7 oocytes have to be retrieved. There was a notification which came later on, which said that all formed follicles have to be retrieved. There is an insurance cover which has to be taken. Now, the insurance has to cover both types of insurance, which is one, the general health insurance, and second is the life insurance for a period of 12 months, which is 1 year. And there has to be an affidavit given by the couple, notarized, which says that I guarantee to compensate the donor for any type of losses that may occur because of the oocyte donation. In terms of the information management, right now the national registry is not being enforced, but there have been a recent notification circulated by the central government to the state government to collect some amount of data and send it to the state government. And a lot of states have actually started asking for information which is similar to the PCPNDT, where before the first of every month you will have to send certain information. So the state is already started asking, and once the national registry is established, similar to how we fill an online form on a PCPNDT portal, we will have to fill a similar kind of form on the national registry portal. You'll mainly have to give information about the commissioning couple, the procedures being undertaken, what is the outcome and the complications, if any. Record keeping, as per the law, you will have to maintain the record for a period of 10 years. In case if there is a case going on in a court, you will have to maintain the documents till the case is disposed of. In case of a clinic or a ART bank is shut down, you will have to pass all these records to the national registry before you shut down. The ART bank, clinic, or the surrogacy clinic can be inspected similar to how the PCPNDT authorities can inspect your premises. Any of the national board, national registry, state board, appropriate authority, or even officer authorized on this behalf can come to the center for any kind of inspection related to ART and surrogacy. These are the various consent form which are given in the ART Act, which has to be maintained at the clinic depending on what kind of procedures you are undertaking. Just to go quickly, form number 6 to form number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are the consent form for the different types of procedures. Form number 14, A, B, and 15, they are mostly to be maintained by the bank. So these consent forms are readily available in Hindi and in English in the ART Act. And they have written what is this consent form used for. There is also a new requirement now for the ART clinic, surrogacy clinic, and the ART bank. You will have to establish a grievance handling cell for the patient. The Act does not say what the grievance handling should be composed of, but you can have around 2 to 3 members in this grievance handling committee. There is a form number 5, which you see on the right hand side. It has to be kept printed on the reception. So if a patient or their relative or any legal representative or any anonymous person wants to write a grievance, they should be made available this form number 5, and the local grievance committee at the center should solve this on a monthly basis and inform the patient. If the patient is not satisfied, then they can approach the state authority. Ideally, all the centers should also display at the reception who are the members of these grievance handling cell, what is their name and a contact number or an email ID. So if a patient wants to send a grievance on email, they should be able to do that. In terms of the penalties, there was no penalty existing before the law, but now there is a penalty for that. So it says that if you abandon, disown, exploit, or cause to abandon, disown, or exploit in any form the child or children born through ART, you sell human gametes, run an agency or a racket or an organization for selling, purchasing, or trading of human gametes, import or help in getting imported in whatsoever manner human gametes, exploit the commissioning couple, woman, or gamete in any form, sell any human gamete for research purpose. If you do any of these, there is a fine of around 5 to 10 lakhs for the first contravention. And if you repeat this thing, there is an imprisonment of 3 to 8 years with a fine of 10 to 25 lakhs, right? And as per the clause 34 of the act, it says that whoever contravenes any of the provision of the act or any of the rules, again the same rule applies, which is first contravention 5 to 10 lakhs penalty, subsequent contravention 3 to 8 years of imprisonment with 10 to 25 lakhs of penalty. Who is actually at the line of fire? It is the executive head, right? So the executive head, which is the in charge of that particular clinic, will be deemed to be guilty of any of the offenses, and will be liable to be proceeded against as per the penalty which I have mentioned in my earlier slide. And in case if the court finds that there is any other particular officer who is associated along with the executive head in doing these kind of act, even he or she is liable to be punished under this particular act. So these are the penalties. So it is better, and it is very important that it is just not you but also your staff who understand the act completely, make sure that they know each and every aspect of the act, and they follow it judiciously. What we have done is, because obviously the act is very complicated and there is a lot of these notifications which have come into place, it is always important that you kind of make flowcharts, make SOPs, and make these checklists which the staff can follow. So in indirectly they're actually following the act, because at the end of the day, you as an executive head is responsible for whatever your staff is doing, and hence it is important for you to make sure that the staff is working as per the law, as per the different provisions of the act, clause by clause, and there is no miss that happens in your clinic. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Your very thanks for your good presentation and beautiful things you have mentioned here. One thing I want to know, sir, from you, if we preserve the ovum, how long we have to use it?
Yeah, so you can preserve any of the gametes for a period of 10 years.
10 years.
After the
That
10-year
is it.
period, yeah, after the 10-year period, you will have to either discard it or give it for research. Only in specialized cases, which is oncofertility patients, after a period of 10 years, if they want to extend it, they will have to apply it to the national board, and the national board can permit them to extend it further.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Your presentation is
Nitish, I
very
had a
nice, sir.
question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Nitish, I had a question for you. In testicular cancers, we can take sperms from a prepubertal boy, means a pubertal boy. 15,
Yes, so
16 years.
there is a form which is there for minors, especially when it comes to gamete freezing, and you can use that particular form to do freezing of minors with parental guidance.
But suppose there is ovarian malignancy or some other malignancy in a girl who is less than 18. She is pubertal, but she's less than 18. Then can we do some sort of oocyte tissue freezing, or is it allowed by law?
It is there for both. It's for minors. It's not for particularly male. The consent form applies for both kind of
Right.
sexes.
Because we were discussing in a webinar fertility preservation. So we had this sort of, maybe discussion. But we are having another webinars for your information, Dr. Jyoti. Now we are having
One thing I
webinar on
want to say
fertility
something. Monica, I want to say something. Due to disturbance in my screen, I have not mentioned anything. So we want to first be thanks whole of the society of the Bhopal to inviting me as a chairing the session. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much. And Neelam ma'am was there right from quarter to 3. She was the first person to join, and she has been there, very sincerely. She has been sitting. So also Jyoti, so also everyone. So
Actually,
Dr.
Neelam madam, someone is asking Neelam madam to eat or say. She was saying, "अभी चालू हो जाएगा, मैं इधर ही बैठूंगी, सामान इधर ही जमा दो."
So webinars have brought us closer that way. Dr. Meena is there since the
Hey,
beginning.
there is a very
Dr.
good
Kalyani ji-
session because
Yeah.
we have all have know about the rules because it is a time to save ourselves first.
No, Dr. Nitish is, I must say that apart from his lectures, his thorough knowledge, and he is always very, very helping. In conferences, you meet him like on the phone. If you want to ask any problem, the concepts are very clear, and he's handling such a large number of cases that he knows at particular center what problem can arise. So that is his vision and his knowledge, and he keeps updating. So congratulations, Dr. Nitish.
Monica, there is one question. The same question you asked, Niharika Allu is also asking. You can take that question, Monica.
Yeah. So there is a question from Dr. Niharika Allu. Dr. Niharika, you want to ask it yourself? You can unmute and ask. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Sir, I wanted to know, like you'd already cleared that there are separate forms, but I wanted to know if they can be used for the same adults once they come of age, like once they become adults, can they be used? Because I seem to have read somewhere that you can't use it or something like that. Can you clarify?
Yeah. See, the thing is, the act will never, not permit the use of self gamete. The act always says that whatever belongs to you, you can use it anytime, right? So there's a consent form number 11, which has to be used for minors. But obviously, when they become, over 21 years of age, they can use the self gametes.
So in the same case,
Okay,
they have
thank you.
to extend actually, as you said, after 10 years in the certain special cases, they have to take permission again. So if there is some case like this minor girl, and then she has to use this gametes after 10 or 12 years, she can also take the consent, the extended consent?
Yes. Of course. Yeah. The
Thank
only thing is they have to go through the approval from the national board. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us at a short notice and giving the deliberation and wonderful talk. Ma'am, Dr. Aruna Kumari, madam, has also joined chairperson from the previous session. Should we proceed to the next talk?
We can ask Aruna Kumari ma'am to chair the next talk for Dr. Jyoti. Yes.
Okay. So with this, the another act which keeps perplexing us is the MTP Act. And to deliver that talk, we have Dr. Jyoti Banga ma'am with us. And to chair her session, we have Dr. Meena Samant ma'am, Dr. Anju Singh ma'am, Dr. Aruna Kumari ma'am with us. Dr. Meena Samant ma'am is again a very senior gynecologist and consultant. She's heading the department of Obs-Gynae at Koji Holy Family Hospital, Patna, Bihar. She's headed in different capacities. Currently, the president of Patna Obs-Gynae Society. She is the vice president of ISOPAP 2023. She was the chairperson of Foxy Clinical Research Committee, and she also delivered Kalmira Oration in 2005. She has organized various
Thank you. Dr. Jain. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have with us, next CV, please. Yeah, Dr. Anju Singh, ma'am, again a very senior gynecologist and consultant. Director at Bajnath Nursing Home and Research Center. She is the founder, vice president, the president of Sitamani Organization. She is the life member of various associations, IAG, ISOPAP, Indian Medical Society, Indian Red Cross, and fellow of various societies. She is the national and state faculty to various conferences and has keen interest in high risk pregnancy, infertility, and endoscopy. I welcome you, ma'am. Next chairperson, can we have the CV of Dr. Aruna Kumari, ma'am?
Dr. Vishal, we would like to have the CV of Dr. Aruna Kumari, please.
Yes, Dr. Aruna Vedupalli, ma'am, again, is a very senior gynecologist, and she is currently the managing director of Snelata Hospital and president of Ananta Obstetric Society. She has organized various medical camps and various conferences. She is specially trained in laparoscopy and a great teacher and has immense work experience. I welcome all the chairpersons and over to chairpersons for the next session. Over to Dr. Chairpersons. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, organizers, for the opportunity given to us to chair this important session of no one else but the chairperson of the Ethics and Medical Legal Committee herself, that is Dr. Jyoti Bangla. We all know her. She has 28 years of experience behind her. She is a medical legal advisor, and that's how she is here as a chair. She's the vice president of Indore Obs and Gynae Society and served the society in various capacity. We remember her dynamic role during the AICOG in Indore. And she has, received so many awards. A very dynamic, very active person, I remember, and especially, admire her choice of saris and her dynamicity with the vigor she goes all around the country. Jyoti is a dear friend, and I'm so happy to see you here as the chair of this committee and all the good work that you're doing. And today itself also, it's a very important topic that you're covering, the MTP Act. There's so many new things that have happened, and we want to revise all that. So over to you and my other co-chairpersons.
Thank you. Thank you, Meena madam. Actually, my wholehearted thanks to Dr. Monica Singh. I know the days are there. Everyone was saying medical legal में क्या रखा है, तो ऐसे ही है, 2-3 एक्ट है, कुछ नहीं. Nowadays everybody is actually scared. Then now they all want to learn things, and I thank Monica to just keeping all the trending topic in her Symbiosis webinar, and congratulations for this very successful webinar, Monica. And thank you, Dr. Meena madam, and so soft-spoken Patna president. And you are the one chairperson जिनको देख के हमको लगता था कि हाँ, the cool काम, सब काम बहुत शांति से हो रहा है, कहीं घसपच नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. आपको देख के लगता था हाँ, कभी कुछ काम करना है तो मीना मैडम जैसे करना है. Thank you for being as a chairperson in my talk. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sharing my topic.
And madam, you have such a sweet voice, Meena ma'am.
Yes.
Your voice is like a little girl.
Is it full screen, Monica? Yes.
No, you have to put it full screen, Jyoti. It is right now in the normal view. And now the slides have gone, Jyoti.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, the first slide is, we can see.
Yes. So actually, as Meena madam said, there are a lot of changes, though they are the minor changes, but all the changes, they actually bringing the change in the women's life. We all know as the MTP is the MTP is the right of a woman. Every adult woman has a right to choose how and when to reproduce the things. But actually, as we said, the Asian countries, they are far behind from all the American continent. But we see even we are having the more liberal laws about the MTP in the PCP and DT in the POXO rather than our other continent in the Europe, America. So here are the few things about reminding the MTP laws. You all know there is no full participation of the women in our country for the MTP. Whenever someone says, well, I want to go for abortion, she has to ask her mother-in-law, her husband, her ma, even she has to ask her saheliya, friends also. So these all things means this MTP law, the liberalization of the MTP law will bring the more women empowerment in our country's women. And we know 8% of the maternal deaths per year due to the abortions only. It is the third leading cause of the MMR, and nearly 2 out of 3 of the abortion performed are the deemed unsafe. And nearly half of the pregnancy-related deaths are in the women and girls under 24 years. So everywhere we are seeing the abortion is done, but when the abortion considered safe, there are two criteria. It should be by the appropriate method and by the trained person. If any one criteria is not met, it is said to be unsafe. It is less unsafe when one criteria is met, and it is totally unsafe when both the criteria are not met. So medical termination of pregnancy amendment is the safe. Actually, in the 2021, the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Act, it is a safe and comprehensive care mandated by law, and on the 12th October 2021, it is applied. The amendment will increase the ambit and access of women to safe abortion services and will ensure the dignity, autonomy, confidentiality, and justice for women and need to terminate the pregnancy. So, whenever we see the female in the agony, how to abort, where to go, this is not only for the doctors. Even in the day-to-day conversation with the patient, we shall tell them, okay, what are the new amendments, what are the new laws for their empowerment. The new law will contribute towards ending the preventable maternal mortality to help meet the Sustainable Development Goal 3.1, 3.7, and 5.6. 3.1 SDG pertains to reducing maternal mortality ratio variance, and SDG 3.7 and 5.6 pertains to universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights. So, why there is a need of this law? To liberalize the provision of termination of pregnancy, to protect the registered medical practitioner who perform abortion as per the provision under this act, and to keep the record of a woman under MTP very secret. What the Section 4 of the MTP Act and their rules says, the hospital and place. There's very clear cut saying about the hospital and the place. Hospital must be established or maintained by government and approved by government, or actually by your district or state committee. There should be approval. And who can conduct the MTP? First, the recognized allopathic medicine degree. Section 2H of the IMC Act in 1956 says there should be recognized allopathic medicine degree. Second, the registered with the state medical council, and the prescribed experience should be there. And to take the varies with the experience should be there. It is not necessary that one MBBS doctor can perform the MTP of 24 weeks or 22 weeks. So experience varies with the length of the pregnancy. Now we will take a closer look with the amendment of the new law. What are the new laws and what are the changes in the rules? So previous act was saying that one provider for MTP up to 12 weeks. The requirement of the opinion of the only one provider was needed. And now the new amendment, it is saying the requirement for opinion of one registered medical practitioner for termination of pregnancy up to 20 weeks of gestation. Previously, it was up to 12 weeks. Now it is up to 20 weeks. That requirement of opinion of two providers for MTP for 12 to 20 weeks, it is in the previous act. But new amendment was saying requirement of opinion of two RMPs for termination of pregnancy, 20 to 24 weeks of gestation. Then this particular amendment, where it is helpful? It is helpful in increasing in number of facilities, especially in the public sector. Most of the time, our village girls, village women, they come just after 12 weeks. After 12 weeks, they come to know they are pregnant. And when they come to the RMP, they come to the gynecologist, it is over the 12 weeks. And then RMP was saying, now RMP is saying, now I need one more opinion. And that patient is going from here to there, and ultimately she landed in the delivering the baby. So this new act is saying only one registered medical practitioner opinion is required for the termination of pregnancy up to 20 weeks. Previous act was saying only when it is immediately necessary to save the life, MTP is permissible beyond 20 weeks. New Act is saying enhance the upper gestational limit from 20 to 24 weeks for special or vulnerable category of women. Further enhancement for birth defects not compatible with life. If your medical board is saying it is the fetus is not compatible with life, the pregnancy gestational limit you can extend beyond the 24 weeks also. So it increases the access for vulnerable women for safe and legal abortion services defined by rules. Committees include violence victims, minors, or rape or abuse victims. Previous act was saying this previous MTP Act has provision for termination of such pregnancies only up to 20 weeks. But now, new Act is saying upper gestational limit does not apply in cases of pregnancies with substantial fetal abnormalities diagnosed by the medical board. The condition of the failure of contraceptive was applicable for only married women. Previously, MTP was applicable for the married woman and her husband. Now, the new act is saying condition of failure of contraceptive to be extended for any woman. Any adult woman with her partner can come to you for MTP. Previous act is saying the medical termination of pregnancy regulation 2003. It mentioned that information should not be disclosed except under authority of law. And new act is saying name and any particulars of a woman whose pregnancy has been terminated shall not be revealed except to a person authorized by any law for the time being in force. It just means if there is a die-hard emergency and your police station or your local authority is asking you to give information, you should not give the information till you are having any letter from a specialized court or law. So the confidentiality is the priority of as per the new law, and name and other particulars of any woman seeking abortion to be confidential except to a person authorized in any law for time being in force, and the ground of failure of contraceptive has been extended to women and partner. These are two major changes. First is for the confidentiality, and second, the term husband is replaced by partner, and as you say, the woman and her partner. And previously, the married woman is replaced by woman, and husband is replaced by her partner. So it defines the rules. The rules under this MTP, this defines a special or vulnerable category of women eligible for extended gestational period for termination of pregnancy from 20 to 24 weeks, and norms for the registered medical practitioner whose opinion is required for termination of pregnancy at different gestational age, and the powers and function of the medical board, where the one obstetrician, one pediatrician, and one radiologist should be there. It formed for each state and mandated to provide timely evidence-based decisions. So you should actually know there is a every city, every district is having the medical board, and whenever you found such patient, you have to take help of your medical. Every time they will form the medical board, and you can take the help of medical board. The registered medical practitioner, many times you see the MBBS people are doing MTP, just taking the training in the 6 months training. But you should know if you are going to do the 18 weeks pregnancy, you have to terminate the 18 weeks pregnancy or 20 weeks pregnancy or 24 weeks pregnancy. It should not be done by this type of doctors. And the special and vulnerable category of women who are eligible for termination of pregnancy, there are clear-cut forms, separate forms are there. So you have to fill the forms, you have to actually follow all the rules. So there is actually, they have made the law very in the easier thing. You can do MTP up to 24 weeks pertaining all the things, all the laws keeping in the mind. You can do the MTP till 24 weeks. Sometimes doctors ask, हम ये MTP कर सकते हैं क्या मैडम? ये तो अनमैरिड लड़की थी, ये हमारे पास आई थी. But if the patient is major, if she can give consent, she is above 18 years of age, then the failure of contraceptive is the right thing to write in your register and take this patient for the MTP. There is a special category of women eligible for this MTP, 20 to 24 weeks. There are seven categories. First is the survivor of sexual assault, rape, or incest. Second is the women with pregnancy in humanitarian settings, disaster or emergency situations as declared by government. Just like before 2 years, there is the emergency situation, or this is the humanitarian kind. In the corona period, we have did all the MTPs because the patients are coming after 4 or 5 months. After 4 or 5 months, they came to our clinic because they are not able to come out of their houses. So this is the indication for such pregnancies, women with pregnancy in the disaster or emergency situation. Change of marital status during the ongoing pregnancy. Just like the woman is pregnant and then she got widowed, or she filed a complaint against her husband and seeking further divorce, she is also a candidate for the if she wants to terminate the pregnancy. This is the indication, change of marital status. Then women with the physical disabilities, major disabilities as criteria under the Disability Act. Mentally ill women, including mental retardation, minors, and then the fetal malformation. If the child was born, it is not compatible with the life or any major deformities. So what should be norm for the RMPs? As I told you, one RMP opinion up to 20 weeks, two RMP opinion 20 to 24 weeks, and medical board opinion beyond 24 weeks. The medical practitioner who assisted in 25 cases of the MTP or done the 6-month house surgency, or the medical practitioner who hold the postgraduate degree or diploma, or the medical practitioner who has the experience of at least 1 year in the practice of obstetric and gynecology. But as I told you, it is not like that some person has just assisted 25 cases of MTP and now she or he is going for the MTP for the beyond 24 weeks of pregnancy, just doing the not a degree holder, degree holder, just a plain MBBS and doing just doing the 6 months house surgency and now going for the 24 weeks of termination. It is not like that. Experience varies and actually norms also varies. Under the amendment rule of 2021, an additional category of provider has been added for termination up to 9 weeks, the medical methods. RMP with experience in the practice of OBGYN for 3 months and training with the performance of 10 cases of MTP under supervision of a RMP. So she or he can go for the medical termination of pregnancy, can do the medical termination by providing the pills. So we have to see till 9 weeks. These are the criteria. Till 9 weeks, it is safe, and only one opinion of one RMP is required. Till 12 weeks, only opinion of one RMP is required, but practitioner should have assisted the 25 cases of the MTP, and the practitioner who holds a postgraduate degree or diploma or 1 year of practice of OBGYN or 6 months of house surgency. Beyond 12 weeks to 20 weeks, only opinion of one RMP, and same diploma or degree in OBGYN, 6-month house surgency or 1 year practice on OBGYN. Now, opinion of 2 RMP is required in 20 to 24 weeks, and same the postgraduate degree and diploma, 6 months of house surgency and 1 year practice in the obstetric and gynae. Now, what is the beyond 24 weeks? There is the experience and training requirement for the RMP, postgraduate degree or diploma. Opinion of medical board is must for the termination procedure, and a practitioner who has the experience at any hospital for a period or not less than 1 year. Though they have written, there should be experience of 1 year, but when there is an opinion of medical board, most of the time the gestational age is beyond 24 weeks. So better to take help of a postgraduate degree or diploma holder doctor. So what is the composition of a medical board? Medical board composition, it is one gynecologist must be there, one pediatrician and one radiologist. And what are the powers of the medical board? To allow or deny the termination of pregnancy beyond 24 weeks of the gestational period only after due consideration and ensuring that the procedure would be safe for the woman. Co-opt other specialists also if required. And the FOXI with the ministry guidelines and WHO support is part of the respectful abortion care can operationalize and host medical board information on website. There are, the medical board can advise you to do certain tests. Medical board can advise you to do the full thorough checkup or investigation, and then only can opine. And the opinion of the medical board we have to follow. And if the fetus is the incompatible with life, or if the child when born would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities to be seriously handicapped, then medical board automatically will give you consent for termination. Function of the medical board is to examine the woman with her reports, provide the opinion of medical board in Form D, and to ensure that the termination procedure when advised by the medical board is carried out with all safety precautions. And Foxy is having very important role to play in ensuring there are functional medical board in every state, as it is stated in MTP Amendment Act 2021. So it is a very important section of the MTP law. Section 3 and 4, when not to apply, the provision of section 4 and so much of the provision of subsection 2 of section 3 as relate to the length of the pregnancy and the opinion of not less than 2 registered medical practitioner shall not apply to the termination of the pregnancy by the RMP in cases where he is of opine form in good faith that termination of such pregnancy is immediately necessary to save the life of the pregnant woman. ये इतना सारा सब चीजों को बहुत ही इजी लैंग्वेज में बताना चाहेंगे कि सेक्शन 3 एंड 4 का कहना है कि जब आपको 2 रजिस्टर्ड मेडिकल प्रैक्टिशनर के ओपिनियन की जरूरत है, या आपका सेंटर कहीं आपका रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है, इवन यू आर नॉट रजिस्टर्ड, बट द MTP इज very necessary to save the life of the pregnant woman, you can just do MTP. You can do the MTP and then you have to just send a report to your CHMO, या authorized medical board, and this section is not apply in the termination of the pregnancy. अगर आपने इमरजेंसी में कोई MTP करी है जो लाइफ सेविंग एज ए लाइफ सेविंग प्रोसीजर, then the section 3 and 4 will not apply. Now, what are the requirement of the MTP? First is the consent. Women only, the major or mentally sound women can give the consent. And if the patient is patient is minor or mentally ill, the guardian should give the consent. There should be a sound indication for the MTP and the sound ground for the MTP. As you know, all the 20 weeks of the pregnancy, these are some indication. If the pregnancy caused by rape, if the pregnancy due to failure of contraception or unwanted child or grave injury to the mental health of the woman, and the risk of the child were born physical, mental abnormalities, and the risk of the life to the pregnant woman to grave injury to her physical or mental health. These are some indications. Now, previous act was saying the failure of any device used by married woman and her spouse. Now, the new act is saying any woman and her partner. So, whenever the patient come with the as if the patient come to you and she is saying it is the unplanned, unwanted pregnancy and due to failure of contraception, but she is not married and she is coming with her boyfriend, but she is above 18 years of age, you are means you can do the MTP on that patient. These are the special category of women. Previously also I showed this slide. So this is the old form. This is the Form C. Everybody is very familiar to this Form C under Rule 9. It is about the name, age, and pregnancy, and her sign, signature, and date of the procedure. This is the Form C. So now here we are coming with the Foxy uniform consents. The Foxy uniform consent is having every type of consent, like the MTP consent, medical termination by the pills, medical termination by any surgical method. Even if you are using the blood products, if you are using any different type of procedure you have to use after MTP, every type of consent is there. But whenever we are using the Foxy uniform consent, we have to keep in mind, we have to actually sign the Form C also. ऐसा नहीं है कि फॉक्सी यूनिफॉर्म कंसेंट साइन कर लिया तो फॉर्म सी को भूल जाएंगे. फॉर्म सी इज द मैंडेटरी फॉर्म. फॉक्सी यूनिफॉर्म कंसेंट इज जस्ट टू सेव योर स्किन whenever you are in the problem. It is in the detailed consent form, so you have to just utilize these forms. This is the new forms. It is the Form E. It is the opinion form of the RMP for gestational age beyond 20 weeks till 24 weeks. It is under the sub rule 2 of rule 4A. This is the new form. This is the Form E. This is just a opinion form of the RMP for gestational age beyond 24 weeks, 20 weeks to 24 weeks, sorry, 20 weeks to 24 weeks. This is the new form. So opinion form of registered medical practitioner for gestational age beyond 20 weeks till 24 weeks, if there is a special circumstances like rape or minor or mentally ill woman or fetal deformation or women with some disaster setting emergency situation, there are separate categories you have to actually tick this form also. Now this is the opinion form. Now this is the form D. This is the report of the medical board for pregnancy termination beyond 24 weeks. Whenever we ask for the pregnancy to be terminated beyond 24 weeks, we have to form a medical board, and this form is used by the medical board. Here all the details of the women, serial number, all the additional investigation if the medical board advised, the report of the investigation, and opinion of the medical board, and why the medical board opined for the, if medical board is allowing the termination, the justification for that. If medical board is denying the termination, justification for this, and physical fitness of the woman, and this is a serial number also. So now the confidentiality part of the MTP Amendment Act. No entry of the name of the pregnant woman can be made in the case sheet, operation sheet, follow-up card, or any other document. You have to only use as a serial number. You have to assign a serial number to the to your patient, to the woman undergoing the MTP, and then in all other documents you have to use that serial number only. Admission register is a secret document, and information therein to be strictly confidential, cannot be open to inspection except in the some special circumstances. Whenever some authority is asking you, then only you have to give the whereabout of the woman, and entry should be serially only, and the fresh serial number should be started at the every calendar year. And you have to keep this actually you have to keep this form C, form 1 should be kept in the envelope, and envelope should be sealed and marked secret, and should contain the serial number of the woman, name of the RMP who is going, means who had done the MTP, and within 3 hours of doing MTP, envelopes shall be sent to the head of the hospital. If just like I said, you just when it is a life-saving procedure, if you are doing as a life-saving procedure, you are doing MTP, if you are sending this envelope after, and not within 3 hours, after 1 day, you have to just give an explanation to that just due to this circumstance, we are sending this envelope to you after 1 day, or whatever, Monday, 2 day, you have to give the proper explanation also. Monthly reporting should be done, and medical board to decide termination only in the certain cases. But there are these are the actually pitfalls of our amendments, and they are the limitation of this act. Medical board to decide termination only certain cases. So there are several writ petitions have been filed before the Supreme Court and various high courts seeking permission to abort pregnancies beyond 20 weeks in the case of fetal abnormalities or pregnancy due to rape faced by the woman. And this bill allows to termination of pregnancy only after 24 weeks only in cases where medical board diagnoses substantial fetal abnormalities. But the termination of pregnancy due to rape that has crossed 24 weeks of limit, they have to file a writ petition. Now, this is a pitfall. The girl is already going in the agony, she is already very exhausted, and the gestational age limit is crossed, and there is no actually provision, and she has to file a writ petition to get rid of her pregnancy. So there are some limitation of this new amendment. And if there are few things they have not clearly clarified in the new amendment, that if the MTP more than 24 weeks we are performing, if baby delivers live, what to do, and to whom custody should be given, and if patient and relatives are not willing to take the custody of this baby, then what to do about this baby? And this baby, if the baby is alive and it is shifted to NICU, who will pay the bills? And if there is any role of police, and if prior feticide can be considered or not. So these are few things they are not clearly mentioned in the new amendment. And so whenever we deal with a patient, with our patient, where the MTP, we have to perform the MTP more than 24 weeks, we have to consider such points in our mind also, and we have to take clearly the separate consent about everything, because the MTP Act at present not saying anything clear. So not to face such problems, we have to just keep these points in mind and just take a separate consent about everything. So lesson learned today, the center must be registered, person must be qualified, and pregnancy up to 20 weeks, only opinion of one RMP. And pregnancy 20 to 24 weeks, there are opinion of two RMP. It's of the same category. Beyond 24 weeks in fetal anomaly, medical board's opinion is must. Beyond 24 weeks, rape victim with normal pregnancy, the writ petition must be in the High Court. Consent is always mandatory, and necessary record to be sent in prescribed form to CDMO in the stipulated time. Now, this is the just about the MTP Act, but most of the gynecologists, they are now dealing with the POXO Act also, and there are everybody is so afraid of the POXO Act, POXO Act, POXO Act, and whenever we are sitting in the OPD, the 17-18 years girls, they are coming to our clinic, and after examination we are seeing she is pregnant. Now what to do? So just I wanted to show you a slide. When medical examination is ordered in procedure under the law, or when patient comes to him or her, means to any doctor, for the diagnosis of for some other thing, and we just diagnose or discover that she is pregnant, what to do? So we have to do her examination, asking her consent, and do examination as provision of section 164A, and the doctor has to follow all the rule of the POXO. The doctor has to inform the special juvenile police or local police. And if the minor girl, she is saying she want to continue the pregnancy, you have to give the treatment for to continuing the pregnancy, but you have to just call the police. And again confirm the age of the patient with the help of Aadhaar card or any other ID. And you should not refuse any medical services or treatment to the patient. Just examine her, taking her consent. If the child is above 12 and below 18, she is sufficient enough to give consent. But if the child is below 12 years of age, you have to take consent from the guardian. And your local police should be informed via written application or the telephone or via email. And you have to inform that some such patient is coming to you and she is under the POXO Act. If she wishes to continue the pregnancy, let her continue the pregnancy. But if she needs MTP, then take the proper consent from the guardian and parents to terminate the pregnancy and follow all the rules and regulation of the MTP Act. But you should preserve the product of conception. Later on, her parents or the girl, she can actually allegate some other person for the rape or incest or anything. So being cautious, taking the precaution of for yourself, preserve the product of conception in normal saline, packed and sealed and signed and hand over to the police. So this is my old slide, and I took this slide from the Tamil Nadu government portal, and that was saying preserve the product of conception in normal saline. But in the recently they are saying you can preserve the product of conception in just एक बड़ा बॉटल में 4 मुट्ठी खड़ा नमक. You means the salt, stone salt. You can preserve the conception in the instead of normal saline. You can preserve in that also. And consent from the jurisdictional court for MTP if gestational age is beyond 24 weeks. You have to actually tell the parents and the girls to give a writ petition in the court, and then only you can able to do the MTP. So these are few points. Actually, most of the time in our villages, in our some certain communities, the girls are actually married in the age of 17 or 18, and then they came to you for MTP. You have to just inform the police. The police will not actually will not trouble you, but to be fair with your part, you have to just see for the POXO Act also along with the MTP Act. Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you. So this is the take-home message. Know about your law, proper documentation, and improve your clinical skill, communication skill, and follow. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Chairpersons would like to make some comment?
That was a lovely talk, Dr. Jyoti.
Yes, ma'am.
Very comprehensive, very crisp, and gave us a lot of, food for thought. And we'll surely, as a state, we'll keep connecting with you wherever we want, knowledge about documentation and doubts to be cleared.
Actually, most of the time, everybody is getting the patient of 18 years and 70 years of the age, and they are coming to us and they are recently married and they are saying they want to go for the MTP. So we have to keep in the mind about the POXO Act also, not just the MTP Act. We have the actually act
Now,
according to the
what
POXO Act.
what better time to mention POXO Act, and Dr. MC Patel has joined.
Yes.
So
Actually, MC Patel sir,
some time.
he has guided me in making all the slides also.
You know what, Dr. Jyoti, now we have a little bit of problem. Dr. MC Patel is only there for 25 minutes with us.
Yes.
He
So
got
we will start the panel discussion.
So we will not introduce the panelists. We will just say the names of the panelists, Dr. Purnima, and later on after the panel, we can introduce them, right?
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
start the panel right away. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good
Namaskar.
evening,
Good evening.
Good evening,
Welcome.
sir.
Good evening.
Let's move forward for the panel discussion. And the topic of panel discussion is ART Act and POXO Act. And our moderators are Dr. MC Patel, sir, and Dr. Randeep Singh, sir. Dr. MC Patel, sir, needs no introduction. Sir is Consultant Ops and Gynec and Medical Legal Counsel in Ahmedabad, Vice President POXI 18, Organizing Secretary 2017, Chairperson Ethic and Medical Legal Committee, POXI 11 to 13, and so many important posts Sir has held. So we welcome you, sir, today, and we are honored to have you today with us. Thank you so much, sir. Our next panelist is Dr. Randeep Singh, sir. Next slide, please. Sir has already been introduced. I would also like to mention that Sir has received ISAR Dronacharya Award for Embryology 27th Annual ISAR 23 Bhopal and Star of ISAR Award Delhi ISAR 23. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Our next panelists are Dr. Anupriya Pankaj Madam, Dr. Chanchal Gupta Madam is not joining us, Dr. Lata Gupta Madam, Dr. Niharika Allu Madam, Dr. Pinky Kataria Madam, Dr. Prerna Rathor Madam, Dr. Ranjana Jha Madam is also not joining us, and Dr. Sadhna Sinha and Dr. Sadhna Madam and Shabana Madam are also not joining because of some circumstances. So I would like to hand over the session to MC Patel sir and Dr. Randeep Singh sir. Thank you.
So let me allow to share my screen.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
So let me clear, just mentioned by Dr. Monica, I will have to leave before 6. So whatever time available with me, we have decided, me and Randir, that I will take POXO related some interesting situation for discussion. And then after Randir will take over as far as ART part is concerned. So straightway to the POXO Act and ART Act afterwards. So warm welcome all the delegates and wishing you a litigation-free practice. At the outset, I would like to thank organizer of Symbiosis and Dr. Monica and Dr. Jyoti in particular for inviting me to moderate this interesting panel. Before I go with this panel, if it works, it's not working. So it is my humble appeal, humble request to endorse my candidature for post of President Foxy election year 2024. Considering my seniority, sincerity, dedicated work in Foxy for years together, and easily and readily availability to any Foxyan in any odd situation as far as medical legal consequences are concerned, please consider my candidature and please vote for me. Election is from 1st to 10 August 2024. All the panelists already mentioned. So usually I start any of my panel with this question. Any panelist can take. Is it worth discussing POXO Act and ART Act? Yes, Niharika?
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you.
So if it is yes, then why?
So as Dr. Jyoti was just telling us that we come across a lot of married couples these days who are probably 17, 18 years old, who ask for either an MTP or a continuation of pregnancy. It may not be just unmarried, even married people come to us. So we need to know what are the basics of POXO.
Yes. And this is statistic. Medico-legal litigations are increasing in number constantly and steadily, and unluckily we gynecologists rank first. So that is why also we have to be very vigilant as far as these medico-legal issues are concerned.
Yes.
So an ignorance of law is never an excuse, because as soon as any law, any act, any ordinance passes in government gazette, it is presumed by law that each and every citizen of India knows that law. So ignorance of law cannot be an excuse, and you should be well aware of all the provisions of act which are pertaining to our medical practice. So what is POXO Act? A very common question. Protection of children from sexual offenses. And which child, and does POXO Act cover boys also? So under 18, any child under 18 is considered child in POXO Act, and it is gender equal. So POXO Act addresses both male and female. So straightway to our obstetric practice and POXO Act, let us see few of the situations. 17 years old girl comes with her boyfriend. She asks for contraceptive advice. What will you do? Many a times this happens. But a girl and boyfriend comes to you. We are going to start our active marriage life, and we do not want to end up into any kind of pregnancy. Would you like to advise contraceptive measures? What will you do? Any panelist can take.
Sir, yes, I will advise for the contraception because it is very common and premarital sex is now very common in our society. It is better that she or he, the persons, they have safe sex and they keep healthy.
Any panelist to differ?
So I will give them the contraception, but I'll also tell them, but as per law in India, we have the POXO Act, it is illegal and they should know about it. So I would at least educate them.
Any panelist to add, or we may conclude then? Because there are two issues. One part is moral part, just said by Anupriya, that not to end up into unwanted pregnancy, we have to advise them, and safe sex also, and contraception also. But at the same time, as far as law part is concerned, it becomes an act of abatement. And what is abatement? Abatement means to instigate, to help, or to aid any person to constitute crime is abatement. So in this, once you advise any contraceptive, they will be free mentally and they will go for a sexual relationship. So it will be violation of POXO Act because you are helping them to constitute crime against POXO Act. So of course you can advise not to have relation first, and if at all they have decided, then how to go for safe sex as far as contraception part is concerned. But you will not prescribe, because once you prescribe any contraceptive, it becomes evidence against you and you may be put into trouble by any policeman in future. So just I mentioned about that. So one can give them health education but cannot prescribe contraception. We should be very clear when any of patient below 18 comes to us for this type of situation. Let us see one more very interesting situation. 16 years old girl is brought by her mother with complaint of vulvovaginitis with discharge per vagina. On examination, she is found to be a case of sexually transmitted disease. And on interrogation, she gives history of sexual exposure with her boyfriend. What will you do? Any panelist can take.
This has to be reported to the police.
Yes. So police is to be informed. But before you inform police, would you like to treat?
Of course,
Yes,
I will
she
treat
is case of
simultaneously.
STD. And she had been brought to you for vulvovaginitis.
Yes.
Naturally, you have
Yeah.
to treat.
Yes.
You have to treat and inform police because she is less than 18. She is a minor. And when she gives history of exposure to her boyfriend, and it is a case of STD also, so it becomes a case of sexual offense. And you have to inform police. So treat the patient, but inform police. Let us see one more interesting situation. 18 years, 6-month-old married girl brought by her mother with pregnancy of 39 weeks, siege for lower segment cesarean section. What will you do? Siege major, 18 years, 6 months. Anybody can
But
take.
when she had conceived, she was not a major.
Yes, very good. When she became pregnant, she was less than 18. So even then, when she is brought to you at the 18 years and 6 months age, having 39 weeks of pregnancy. So at the time of conception, she was minor. So it becomes a case of POXO. So you have to deal with delivery, whether normal, cesarean, whichever, whatever indication is there, you have to. And then you have to inform police. Would you like to inform police first and to go for cesarean? Or would you go for cesarean section and then inform police?
First inform police.
Why? If it is an acute emergency, then also?
Sir, it is a it is a matter of seconds or minute. We can do it simultaneously. But if we do the cesarean section without informing police, we can be in trouble later.
Anybody to differ?
As an emergency, we can proceed and then
Yes,
inform.
exactly. In a very famous case of Permanent Katara, court has very specifically mentioned, first you treat the patient, all the legal formalities afterwards. So before this patient leaves your premises, you can inform police. So if it is an acute emergency, if you have to rush with cesarean section, you can very well go with cesarean section. And then you can inform police. Because even if you try to inform police before cesarean section, do you mean that the police will turn up immediately? It is not like that. So you deal with the case and you inform police before patient leaves your premises. So with this type of cases in between, let us have a carry home. One is under obligation to investigate properly with careful history about sexual assault. And if so, one has to inform police. Let us see one more situation. 17 years
If I
old
may
girl.
interrupt.
Yes,
So if I
yes.
may interrupt.
Yes,
So if
Niharika.
this was, you're saying sexual assault, but if this was a consensual intercourse and probably a married woman also, and what if we do not inform? Like, I'm just asking for clarity.
What is
Even
consensual sex? With consent. But in eye of law, when she is minor, her consent is not valid in eye of law.
Not
So
valid.
it
Yes,
is
yes,
as good as without consent.
yes, yes.
Here, age matters.
Age matters. Yes.
If she is more than 18, she can give consent for coitus. She is less than 18, even if she has given consent, but the consent given by her is not valid, lawful. It is not lawful consent. And that is
Yes.
why we have to inform police. So let us see one more interesting situation. 17 years old girl with mother visits hospital with 6 weeks pregnancy for termination of pregnancy. Doctor explains that I will go for termination of pregnancy, but I will have to inform police. Patient and mother refuses for the same and leave the hospital without taking any treatment further. What will you do? Anybody
We
can
have
take.
to report to the
We will
police.
tell
We
the
have to report to the police.
Yes. So even if patient takes treatment from you further, doesn't matter. But once you came to know that she is pregnant by 6 weeks, she is less than 18, it becomes a case of POXO and you are under obligation to inform police.
Yes, but sir, there is a time
Yes.
limit of 24 hours. Within 24 hours, we have to inform.
No, no.
As I know.
In this situation, when patient has already left your hospital, you are with information, name, age, and address of patient. And if you have collected a contact number, fine, then you can inform police. Previously, you were telling it's a matter of only 2-3 minutes. Now, so if you are not held up in any emergency, you have to inform police in this type of situation. Let us see one more interesting situation. What is expected under POXO Act about reporting? Once you came to know that patient is pregnant, patient is less than 18, because under POXO Act, section 90, it is very specifically mentioned that being a responsible citizen of India, you are under the obligation to inform police or juvenile court or CWC. When you come to know, then it is a case of under a POXO Act, or it is likely to happen under POXO Act, you are under obligation to report. So my question is, how you will inform? How will you inform? Or let us, before that, what is the provision in case of failure to report? If you came to know that she is minor, she is pregnant, or she is a case of sexual assault, and you didn't or you couldn't inform, what is the provision in this type of situation? Failure to report or a record a case.
Sir, if someone fails to report within 24 hours, I think there is a jail sentence for 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months.
3
As I
years.
believe. So.
So under section 21, it is a provision of 6 months imprisonment. If you are having single man nursing home also, but if you are head of the institution, then imprisonment for 1 year. So you cannot afford this, and that is why we have to inform police. So one more area, how to inform. Once you have come to know that patient is pregnant, patient is less than 18, or even if she is not pregnant, she is a case of sexual assault, and you have to inform police. How to inform? Which are the ways you will inform? Because you will have to inform with acknowledgement. Because many a time police may go hostile. You didn't inform, you never inform. But in court of law, if at all you are facing this situation, you will have to prove that you inform police. So how will you inform police?
So it
Anybody
should be
can take.
informed in written form to the person who has been made
So
responsible to take
you
such
will
case.
send your person in with 2 letters to police station
Yeah.
and get it signed in one paper.
Yeah,
Oh.
there are specific people of rank of sub-inspector who are to be informed.
But usually in this type of situation, there is police station officer, PSO. He will receive all this kind of information or letter or any application. So would you like to have any information related to that very person whom you are giving information?
Yes. Yes, sir.
About what?
At least the name, rank, and which day we have informed, so that we
Name,
know that
date,
whom
time,
time
and
when we have
each
informed.
police station officer are given buckle number. So you will ask buckle number also. Name, buckle number, date, time. It is very important. If policeman refuses to sign your OC copy, what will you do? It is a very common situation. Police will not is not interested to give you in a sign your original copy. So in this situation, are there other ways to inform? Because we have to save our own skin. Because in court of law, you have to prove that you inform police. Police will say you didn't inform, you never informed. Then
Sir, we can directly inform to judiciary. There are some persons in judiciary who are
Yes.
appointed as the officers, juvenile
Yes.
officers, to whom we inform about
So
the
that is
incident.
CWC, that is Child Welfare Committee.
Committee
So you
in all
can
the
inform
districts.
any member of Child Welfare Committee. One, fine. Second, these are some ways. You can dial 100, it is recorded call. But in this, whenever you start your giving information, then you will have to identify the person whom you are giving information with name, buckle number, date and time. By register ID, you can send it by register ID also. It is one good proof. By mail, if you have email ID of your police station in your jurisdiction, then you can send it by register ID, I mean by mail also. Telephone with recording. You have facility in your mobile about recording, then you can give information on your mobile also with recording, and inform higher officer. If lower officer is not complying, not giving this
Response.
acknowledgement, then you can inform higher officer, PSI, PI, DYSP, them also you can inform. So these are some ways if police doesn't give you acknowledgement. Let us see one more case and then I will leave. Can doctor refuse to examine a victim of sexual assault who came to the hospital for treatment, merely giving this type of ground, citing that it is a MLC case, require police requisition or magistrate order?
No, sir.
No, sir, we
No,
cannot.
sir. We cannot.
So whenever any case or sexual assault or sexual offense is brought to you, you are under obligation to examine, to treat, to form your opinion, and to inform police. So voluntary reporting to a hospital or doctor is a legal right of victim of sexual offense. It is under section 27 of POCSO Act. You are under obligation to give proper treatment to that very patient whenever this type of patient is brought to you. One more situation. 17-year-old girl visits a private hospital with history of sexual assault. Doctor asked her to go to government hospital as it is a MLC case and has to be examined by government doctor only. Is it mandatory that victim of sexual assault has to be examined at government hospital also only?
No,
Anybody,
sir.
anybody can take. Any panelist.
Sir, in my
Usually
opinion,
it is
it
done
is
in the
better,
government hospital.
Hey, one by one.
it
One
is
by one.
better to do the primary treatment if there is some injury. But for the collection of vaginal swab and preserving the clothes and all that, she needs to go to the hospital, government hospital, because we don't have such facilities.
Once you examine patient and once you treat that very patient, you are under obligation to mark all the injury mark or any other mark which are useful to
So
come to
after writing
conclusion
all the
or to opine.
treatment
Yes,
and what is
and you
there,
have to inform police. Of course, for further treatment, if you are, say, for example, you are working at very primary health center and further treatment is needed, she is bleeding or some foreign body inside and it is to be done under anesthesia and there is no facility. But whatever you could see, you have to note everything and you have to opine also at whatever you are finding and what could be your interpretation. And you have to give primary treatment also, and then only you can refer patient to higher center, whether in government hospital or any other place nearby. But merely on that ground that it is MLC case and this case cannot be examined or treated here and it is to be treated by at government hospital only could not be the excuse. So you will have to do some primary treatment and then you can inform or you can send it to another hospital. Let us see last case. 16-year-old victim of sexual assault was brought to your hospital for treatment. Mother insists on you to conduct medical examination, but victim doesn't want examination. What will you do? Patient is not ready for examination. Mother is insisting that you examine her and you treat her. What will you do?
When patient is not ready, we should not examine.
So
we
your
have
age
to inform
matters.
the
Because she was a minor, we had to
Correct.
take the consent of the mother. She is giving consent, so we'll go for examination only.
But she of course, she is 16, so she is minor, but she is not willing to get herself to be examined. What will you do? Will you insist or will you go by force for examination? She
So
is
we
not
cannot
willing.
go by force. We could probably ask if she'll be comfortable with somebody else and then try and examine.
So you can explain her importance of examination. Even if she is not willing, you cannot force because she is 16. And as far as POCSO Act is concerned,
About 12.
any person more than 12 years of age
have to
can
give
give
consent.
valid consent as far as examination is concerned.
Yes.
So if she doesn't give consent for examination, you cannot force. But to be on safer side, you will take her signature, that is negative consent, that I am not willing to get myself examined. So in this type of cases, even if you are facing litigation in court of law, then you are safe that she didn't comply, she didn't allow us for examination. So even if mother is insisting, but she is not willing, you cannot force to examine her. Because a person 18 years old and above could give consent for medical examination, which is even invasive in nature. In this type of cases, when she is 16, she can give consent for examination. But if surgical intervention is required, say for example, she is bleeding and some suturing is required or some foreign body inside and you have to remove it, then in this situation, consent of guardian is very much required because you have to go for anesthesia or sedation or so. So for that, she cannot give consent because she is minor. In this, so any surgical intervention, we have to take consent of guardian. And here word guardian is used. It is not necessary that guardian should be legal one. Any person who guards the patient is guardian. Say for example, if patient is brought from school by her school teacher is with her, her school teacher can also give consent. She is guardian in this type of situation. So any major person who have guided the patient can give consent in this type of situation. So thank you, Monica and Jyoti, for inviting me. Due to paucity of time, I will have to switch over, and now Randhir will take over further as far as ART Act is concerned. But before I leave, if any question on part of any panelist or any delegate related to POXO or even ART also, no issue. I am here for a few minutes to answer.
Sir, but there is a controversy that according to IPC, if the girl is above 15 years and married, then it is they can have.
No, let me clear. Under section 375 of IPC, even our second MBBS curriculum, we were taught definition of rape. And in that very definition, it was defined as it is unlawful cardinal knowledge against her will, without her consent, or even consent taken under threat, under intoxication, under false promise, under false information, then this consent is not valid. In that very section, it was clarified. If she is married and if she is more than 16 and less than 18, with her husband, it is not considered as a rape. But if she is less than 15, even with husband, it is considered as a rape. It was definition under section 375 IPC. But after this POXO Act, which was enacted in 2012, after POXO Act, it matters age only. It doesn't matter as far as her marital status is concerned. Even if she is married, but she is minor, she is less than 18, it becomes a case of POXO. But I would like to mention one very interesting observation in near past only in one of the cases in Supreme Court. Supreme Court has very specifically observed that if they are enjoying their happy married life, she is 17 or so, and she is pregnant, and she had been to doctor for antenatal checkup. She is not interested to go for termination. Even then, in this situation, is doctor under obligation to inform police? As per POXO Act, yes. But Supreme Court has observation and remark that if they are happily enjoying their married life, and if married life is more than 1 year, and if doctor has not informed police, doctor should not be held responsible. But we are waiting copy of that very judgment, because we will have to go with word to word as far as this judgment and observation on part of Supreme Court is concerned, and then only we can take some advantage of that judgment. Till then, if patient is less than 18, irrespective of her marital status, we are under obligation to inform police or CWC if at all we come to know that she is a case of sexual offense. So
Sir,
thank you very much.
question. Yeah.
Yes.
I have
Sir,
a
off the
question.
record, we are living in a tribal belt, and every third ANC is below 18 years.
Yes.
We are in a dilemma what to do. Sir, personally, what I do, I don't look for Aadhaar card, and in every ANC, I write 18 years, even when I know that she is 16. What can I do, sir? Every third ANC
So
is below 18
my
years.
first submission and advice, never entertain this type of practice, because burden of proof is on your shoulder to prove age of patient. And if she is less than 18, from appearance or anyway, you will have to prove in court of law whenever you write 18. Was she 18? And one allegation could be it was conspiracy between patient party and yourself. And in spite of you were knowing that patient was minor, you didn't inform police and you went with termination or whichever treatment you have given. So never indulge in this type of practice. You may be put into trouble in future. So we are informer, we are not complainant. We have to simply inform police. Whether police takes further action or not, that is
What
up
do
to
the
them.
police do Like generally, what happens to
Naini,
these married
Naini,
couples if we do
that is
inform?
up to them. This is none of our business. We have to simply inform police. That's all.
Sir, I have a question.
Thank you very much. If any question,
Hello.
you can put in
I have.
chat box. And
Okay.
if I get time from my another webinar, I'll be back again to answer all those questions. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, MC sir. Thank you for
sir.
the. You have packed 1 hour of performance in half an hour, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody who has queries from MC sir can put in the chat box. So myself, Manisha and Purnima will communicate to sir and probably we will get back to you. Most probably. So the next part of the panel is on ART Act. And for this, I invite Dr. Randhir Singh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. So thank MC sir. So now MC sir has taken the part of other than the ART Act. I'll be taking to that. Yeah. So I will share the screen. Just a minute. Yeah. So good evening, everybody. So most of us are doing the now infertility practice also. So initial part was dealt with my colleague Nitish Mudia, who is a Central ART member, board member. So now I'll be touching the part that what was the aim of the ART Act? It was to regulate the unethical practice with a proper way. As the PCPNDT Act has come, I think it was in the late 1996-97. So now it's almost 20 years plus in PCPNDT, and now the ART Act has come in 2021. Its implementation and all, it is last 21. So hardly 2 or 3 years are over, and still 75% clinics have just applied and they have not been registered. So infertility is a very important topic because now the government of India, after the WHO recommendation and declaration that now infertility is a disease worldwide recognized. So there are 3 core aspects which I'll be covering. Infertility burden on a gynec, then the social part is the gametes and then freezing, then other medical diseases concerned, and then the research papers. Key points were, as I told you, it was to provision of ART services under regulation. Then boards were formed at the national and state, and then at district board. Then the right of the child born through ART. Then what are the duty and clinics that with ethical practice, if a doctor is not doing a good practice, what should be the offenses and penalties? So it's like a parallel to the PCPNDT Act. Question 1. Can unregistered gynec give a gonadotropin for infertility treatment? And the other part is, can a gynec at ART1 do stimulation with the gonadotropin for IVF and then refer to ART2 clinic for a pickup and embryo transfer? Before that, I'll come to that. We have got the ART bill, and ART bill has got the part 1 if you are doing only IUI. So ART1 clinic are only IUI, ART2 are IUI plus all, that is IVF, ICSI, surrogacy, and the third is ART bank. So this question, anybody of the panelists can take.
So yes, a gynecologist can use gonadotropin if she is going for IUI at level 1 ART center, but she
but it
cannot
should
do
be-
stimulation for with gonadotropin for higher center or for IVF.
But it should be registered for IUI, sir. If you are doing
Hello?
an IUI. If you're not doing an IUI, sir, can you hear us?
Hello? I'm not audible?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you. So they can do, they can give the stimulation if it is registered for the IUI at level 1. But they cannot do for any IVF stimulation. Any stimulation cannot be done if they're not registered for it.
Other panelists?
Sir,
So we are able
she
to
can,
hear you.
Yeah, yes.
so she cannot do stimulation for other centers or level 2 centers. They cannot stimulate and then send the patient to level 2 ART center.
The gynecologist should have 3 years experience in IVF center. She must have the experience of working.
No, if she has got experience, everything she has, but she has not been registered with the local PCPNAT authority, then what to do? They can do. She can do stimulate or not?
No, sir. If she is not registered, then she cannot do.
She cannot. She has to be registered.
I am registered to another place and nearby hospital, and I visit there for 2 to 3 hours daily. But in the evening, I want that I can do a part of my stimulation part in my own clinic, which is not registered. Can I do? Because I'm already
No, sir.
registered to
Both the clinics should be registered.
Okay. So that's good. So that is the answer. Okay. Then can one embryologist register work in multiple ART clinics?
Yes,
he can work.
yes, sir. They can. But they have to be registered at all the places.
At all the places. Okay.
Yes.
So suppose there are 3 persons registered to my center and all the 3 are sick or by any part they are not able to come. So in emergency, can I hire anybody's embryologist without registration?
No, sir. No, sir. We can't have.
This needs to be answered by everyone, because in medical, as in taking a consent of in OT on the cesarean or anything, because you have done the pickup, patient SCG has given. So on, I think anybody can take that. We doctors have got a power in our hand that in the favor of a patient, in emergency, you can hire the services, but a proper documentation. So what I want from you is that you do ask the embryologist, do your rescue, it's a rescue ICSI or IVF procedure on the same day, and inform to the local authority. That is a perfect way, because you are doing in the favor of a patient. I need a few minute discussion on by panelists senior, what they think. Lata ma'am, Niharika, anybody?
Sir, I'm not
Anupriya?
an IVF specialist, so I'm like literally
Sir, I'm
flabbergasted.
also not into ART, sir.
Okay.
I think all
never
the
faced
ART
such
people are not here
situation.
on the panel.
I have
Yeah,
never
so
faced such situation.
So I'll put it the other way. It's like it's the same routine. And it's a medical condition. In any case, in consumer cases and all, you know that for us to save a patient's life, you can do without any consent and all. But in the court of order, you have to prove it. That is very important, because it might go to litigation that your routine embryologist was not there. You have hired a unqualified or unregistered, because if anything goes bad, the patient may sue in the court. Because so what I think, if there are 3, because in the ART, people always prefer that 50% of the job, rescue job, should be done by your own gynec. Suppose ICSI is a little a step higher. So if, for example, a routine hysterectomy is taught in our PGs in Obs Gynae department in every, but laparoscopic hysterectomy is not. So in the same also, IVF should be done by every pickup gynae, and ICSI should be left for a higher. So that will have a rescue for yourself. So ART law doesn't restrict, we have answered it, and at a clinic, multiple free answering can be done. Question 3. Woman who has married at age of 18, husband has severe oats, needs IVF ICSI, she's 20-year-old now. What are the options? You people are not ART people, so the age is from
21
to 50.
50 years.
Yeah. So what to now? What
For
is your
female.
opinion?
So we
Yeah.
could ask her to wait for another year and
1
then
year.
go ahead for another year and
1
then
year.
go ahead with the procedure ICSI.
So suppose in 1 year he has got the oats. What guarantee is that that husband will, now his husband is having just a few thousand
Yeah, so
sperms.
you could probably
We can
bank them.
cryo-freeze, sir.
We can
His semen.
collect the semen and store it in the sperm bank
Cryo-freeze.
and then utilize it later after 1 year.
Suppose I make it 18 year instead of 20 year. So she will wait for 3 years.
According
Yes.
to the law, yes.
But Niharika, if I'm a patient, I'll put in the code that when I have a fixed answer of my question is that this is the treatment, I don't have any other option, then why I should wait for 3 years? We don't know about the future of 3 years, whether I'll be alive or not, or my sperm will continue the same or not. Because freezing is, though freezing is almost 80-90%, but the oats is already, the sperm morphology is also, motility is also compromised. So what is your opinion?
So we could probably freeze the embryos. And then
No, you cannot create the embryos because you cannot. Because IVF procedure is the minimum age is 21 years. So you cannot ask the patient for IVF consent. You can freeze the sperm. So what I wanted to answer from you people is that recently in last 2 years, many court cases and RTIs and Supreme Court. So recently the Supreme Court has realized and they have started giving an individual case basis relaxation in the act.
Okay.
Because this act was made in hurry. Government also knows and we also know. So this government is very, very receptive in your advices. And as we are very lucky that our Foxy president, Tang sir, is also an IVF expert. So frequently whatever comes, like recently it was an MCI that you cannot relay the live surgeries and also that is very good. So many loopholes are there. So if it's established in the law of code that your option is only this, and why you wait for 3 years only because of the law. So I'll continue now next. Yeah.
Then we have to go to court and take the permission, sir.
Yeah. Fast track. But again, the court will take time. So it doesn't mean that it will take 3 years. So you have to apply the time limit also. So now Supreme Court is very apprehensive. They have given the orders in few months in many loophole cases. Then now the next question is that embryos were created when the husband was 54 and wife was 37. And the initial cycle was unsuccessful. The husband is now 55-year-old. At the time of next embryo transfer, what to do?
Sir, we can
Up
transfer
to
because
55 is allowed.
Because
no,
at the
but
time of
when
the
the
cycle,
embryo
the
were
age.
formed,
Yeah.
he was below 50.
50.
Husband was 54.
54.
Yeah, he was below 55.
But now the patient is 55 already. He has crossed the 55. Now he's 55 plus.
But the embryo has to be transferred to female, sir. And it
she
was
is below
preserved when
50.
the male was below 55.
So, Dr. Lata, I'll ask individually. Dr. Lata, what do you say? Which, legally they can go for embryo transfer?
Yes, sir.
But the husband age is 55 plus. And the law says husband below 55 and wife below 50, inclusive of the day of transfer. Suppose today is my birthday, husband.
But embryos were created before.
No, but the law says the procedure, it's a procedure day, the age. The procedure of not creating the embryo transfer.
Okay.
Dr. Niharika?
Yes, sir. Getting very enlightened today.
So these are, Dr. Anupriya?
Sir, I think we can transfer because when they were created, the husband was below 55.
So again, legally they cannot do as the previous question. They need a permission from a higher court, and they will get the because when they did, the law was not there. So that is again sad. So these are because I'm saying because all these people earlier also when MC Patel was there, sir, that many people somebody asked that you have to do PCPNDT and they are below 18 years. So they're used to write 18 plus. So here you should not do it because that is, as MC sir also answered, that you should not play with the record. The patient is that. So couple conceived with IVF have the extra embryo frozen. Sister and brother-in-law have issues and need both donor egg and sperm. So the couple, I think you must have you have got the question. What I want to ask is, couple conceived. The couple X and Y, they conceived by IVF, and now they have now extra frozen embryos with my center or anybody's center. Now sister and brother-in-law have issues. They both, husband is ISU and wife is also AMH less than 0.5, menopausal. So can they take with the permission
No,
of
sir.
both?
No, sir, they can't take, because that cycle, one cycle is only for one couple. It cannot be given to anyone, even if they are related to them.
Yes.
So
what they can do instead is they can commission a related couple, and the eggs can be extracted fresh for this couple. They can commission the donors. I think something like that.
So, so you want, Dr. Niharika, that the relative can donate the sperm and the egg for fresh cycles through ART bank,
yes,
knowing that the embryos are already created.
But the law says that only, sir. It
Again, this is
cannot
a
be
question.
used for
Again, this is a question.
other
See,
couple.
I have an extra car with me. You people, Niharika has an extra diamond ring for her clinics, and with the same amount she is going to buy again for wearing. But the possession is not with her. The possession is with the husband. So this like same. So you're going to create the same embryos, and with one cautious. 99% of the chances are that the good quality embryo you will have with a fresh cycle. Here you have got a proven fertility of the embryos, because the sister and brother of this concern embryos have conceived. They are now born in this world. So this is a very good question. I think we'll put up into the, again, you have to take a permission from the national law, national authority, and this loophole, because this point came, because these all the slides are same which myself and Anna Patel ma'am has put up in the ICUG Hyderabad. So there we could not get it, but as now Niharika told, now just I got it that creating an embryo will not guarantee as best as now which has in my freezed lab. So again, this type of questions, now we can go to the quote. Question. Next, a couple who conceived through IVF has frozen embryos. Meanwhile, their sister and brother-in-law facing fertility changes, donor egg. As per the RT log, frozen embryos cannot be transferred. The couple decides to select this possibly being, so discard it. So here the question is that we should discard it. So I think before discarding, we should apply to the national authority. Can the sperm donor donate semen multiple times to a single couple?
Yes, I think we can, sir.
Dr. Niharika?
No, I don't think so. At least that's what I understood. What sir spoke a couple of minutes ago.
If the semen quality is good and everything is okay under microscope, why can't he donate it?
It should not be done.
Maybe the problem is with the oocyte.
Yeah, actually, Anupriya ma'am, the ART law, I told you, it has come with a very fast and limited time. So the law doesn't allow for both oocyte and donor sperm not to repeat the donation, whether you conceive or not. So it's 1-to-1 person. So even if now again it's a loophole, because in the semen, Nitish, I think Nitish has not, he has left, but Nitish Mudia and we have joining one common platform in one webinar and physical CME. So the law says that one sperm donor for one couple. They have not mentioned clear whether it becomes pregnant or not. So the question is what people are doing, they're taking because in the loopholes question mark where the act is not so clear. So what they're doing, a semen donor donates a semen. It has been made in allocate in 3 parts, and 3 parts is donated to a center, given, transferred. And if the first IUI patient doesn't conceive, the same sample, second sample is used, and the third is used. That can be for IVF also. But I think it is the not 100% proof, safe proof to practice. But because the law loophole is there, so we assume that the law says that they don't want to create many offspring from one donor.
One person.
That is
Wiki
an
donor.
ethical.
They don't want a wiki donor.
Yeah.
donor, like wiki
But
donor.
wiki donor, but I'll not. I think though it will be recorded in because it's a YouTube recorded. So our ancestor were having, my grandfather were 8 and 9 brothers, and 4, 5 died, and same I think most of the family. So when the nature says that one man can have more than 5 or 6 children, our ex-PM had many children, our ex-CM has many children, and few people were trying to ban a politician if they have more than 3 or 4 children. So when the nature says that you can have a 3, 4, 5 children, so when a couple who's donating the sperm, he has 1 child or 2 child, done the TT or VT, and if he wants to donate, I think he should be allowed for at least 1, 2, or 3. So if 2 child norm is there and he's donating, so at least they should be allowed for 3. But why I'm saying this? Because I have got a support from my ancestor and everywhere in the Darwin's theory of nature that a person can have 5 children or 3 children without the aspect of medical consanguinity, because there are some diseases which go from the family. But we have seen in some religion like Muslims and all, they still have a consanguinity, but they allow it. So what my point is coming to that, the routine cost of one semen donor was less than 5,000 before Act. Varying from you people, Gani, if you were doing the IUI ID samples, it was 2.5 to 5,000. Now, at that time, one person was allowed for 15 donations. When the ICMR guidelines were there 10 years back, one donor was allowed for 15. So we don't want the 15 also, but at least now it should be for 3. So if there are 3, the cost will come again 2 before. Now the cost is around 10,000, 15,000, The RT bank are charging just 3 times. So then how to cut down the cost? That is there. I will request our Foxy president and all our SAR and IFS president to go ahead and to have convinced, because ultimately infertility is now WHO notified. India is poor. My Madhya Pradesh is only state in whole India where the Ayushman Bharat, the government is doing Ayushman Bharat for infertility. We are doing in 55,000 IVF, including drugs and everything. We are doing for poor patients. So we are doing for no profit, no loss, but at least balki loss mein kar rahe hain. So to help the poor patient, because poor patient cannot have IVF. So in that the cost of donor sperm will be 3 times. So it will be difficult for us. And 25% of the infertility is a male factor, azoospermia. So great burden is that. So now this is a question I'll be getting to the bank shall not supply as the act says. Now question number 7, can a single woman who is never married undergo IVF and IV treatment with the donor sperm, a cryo donation? And can a woman who is currently undergoing divorce undergo IVF treatment with the donor sperm without the signature of the husband? I think this is
The first one is a yes. First one
They
is a
can.
yes. The second one.
Second one is doubtful. If she's undergoing, she has to take consent of husband before the divorce is finalized.
Yeah. If the legal divorce is done, then she doesn't need a consent.
Okay. So in the first question, if she's unmarried and her oocytes are AMH is less than 0.5, so she can go for IVF with oocyte donation, both donations?
Yes, sir, she can go.
Yeah, okay, that's good. But because I'll not be touching much of surrogacy, but I'll tell you that now surrogacy is that in surrogacy, you have to have your own gametes. So a couple who's going for a surrogacy, they cannot
both
opt
the
for
gametes
yeah.
have to be the
Yeah,
couple.
so that is a very, for that also we are going to challenge it. So we have answered that is no. So that is important. So section gamete is there, obtain a single between 21. I have told you. Donor oocyte retrieval. So for retrieving oocyte donor, that is also important. So donor gamete sperm, a bank shall obtain all necessary aspects.
One
Insurance
thing
coverage.
about surrogacy, I wanted to add, Dr. Randir. that I just
Yeah.
got a patient 1 week back, who was referred to me from a government hospital for surrogacy because we are surrogacy center, and that she was Rokitansky-Kuster-Hostel syndrome and MRKH, and she was carrying a document wherein they had allowed her to have a donor oocyte because that was an indication. And of course, she will have to have a court affidavit and everything. So in special cases like MRKH, the surrogate, the commissioning couple without uterus will have to have donor oocyte.
Yeah, that actually, again, I wanted to know that recently the Supreme Court has allowed it. So, but that was an individual case. So again, you have to take, because at present the law says that it has to be both gametes by own patients. So at present you have to apply because because there are a lot of loopholes because the girl child, my child or my sister or anybody families can have that one. So that will be a part of I think individual cases you have to
Special permission
from
has
the,
to be taken from court.
yeah, court. You have to apply to the RTI, to the central board, and then if they don't allow you, because as per act, if you write to them, they will say as per act, this you cannot do. Then with that copy, you have to apply to the legal cell, to the court.
So do you have separate advocate for this RTI?
Yeah, you have to hire.
You have to hire. You have to hire. You have to
Do you
hire.
have any specialization in this field, or any advocate can do this?
No, any simple advocate can do. All your advocate, any advocate who's fighting the cases in the Supreme Court will know. Just you have to go to the input because every advocate you have to give the inputs. This is the RT Act. According to that act, this patient is not fitting, so we want a special. Because why actually I am telling you, it's not a question of the government. That present government is inceptive or receptive. The law, the basic article in the Indian Constitution is that the freedom. So your human right freedom. So human right says whatever the advances in medical sciences are there, I am free to get it. So if my uterus is not there, and the treatment for uterus is to hire a uterus or transplant uterus. So transplanting uterus is still not a first choice, it's not that successful. But if surrogacy is there, now the surrogacy is legalized, but the problem is that I have to use my own oocytes. My body has not made by the God to have a oocyte. I can have a higher because ART bank is now legalized. ART bank provides me the oocytes, so that should be there. So under the article human right freedom, for that the Supreme Court gives you the right. That is there.
So you're muted.
Dr. Randhir, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So donor gamete, sperm and oocyte section, obtain a semen from a male to conclude is that you have to strict. Now, what is the barrier in the ART Act is that most of the patients are coming, either the husband is more than 55 or the wife is more than 50 years. And underage are very less patients because nowadays only the village and rural people, they are getting married early. Otherwise, most of the female, they come, even if they are married at 20 years, for infertility treatment, they will come after 21. So we should be worried about the donation cycles because there because of the law. Why the law has come? Because there were many unethical practice. The donors less than 20 years, minor 17-year donor was taken in South and the patient died and all. So even if your IVF center and the ART bank is supplying a oocyte for you, make sure that the donor is really 23 year, not with the Aadhaar, because Aadhaar card can be manipulated and everywhere. And so whatever document you take provided by the ART bank, just get countersigned, because in the case law was says that suppose you have taken a patient, for example, that initially when NC Patel sir was there, I was listening a question that lot of rural patient comes for ANC and PCPNDT and you all write 18 years. So even if a patient comes with the Aadhaar card and Aadhaar card shows 18 year plus for the PCPNDT, and here for infertility it shows 21 year, and for the donor oocyte it shows 23 years. If you use it and the patient goes in the court and suppose there is some complications in your center and the consumer case is gone, so what your opponent advocate will say, we told them that my age is so and so, even then the doctor did not listen to me, and they downloaded my Aadhaar card from the online or my relative gave, and that Aadhaar card was fake. To prevent for that is any document, it should be self-attested. So Aadhaar card or voter ID where age is there, you should get a signature of patient, not even a husband or witness, because then they will make them also a partner. कि मेरी तो बहन से लड़ाई है, भाई से लड़ाई है, husband से लड़ाई है. So when Mrs. X patient has signed self-attested, that means this ID proof was provided by me, and all the authenticity, the fact printed over the Aadhaar card is my liability. So this is very important, because being a lawyer, I know, but these are important for everybody. Anybody who's getting registered, for example, you have registered a gynec people with you, or registered embryologist, you have used their certificate they have given you. When something happens, you are in trouble, you all hospital staff is in trouble, they will try to skip. No, the certificate was not given by me, they put my name and all. So whatever MCI registration certificate, just self-attested.
Self-attested.
So yeah, so self-attested means it's my consent, and what I have given, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a good point, sir.
Yeah, so this is in all your future practice. And this I knew it, 20 years back, my anesthetist for NABH, he gave a certificate. And on that certificate, what he wrote, I'll not tell his name. This certificate is given for NABH inspection only and signed, self-attested. Look, that certificate I cannot use for anything. Okay? For income tax or salary or anything. Because sometimes, I have taken his certificate and I have showed my salary, black money to distribute it to my other people, including him. So that is also a part. So if you want to go one ahead again, you can take also that.
Purpose also can be written.
Yeah. So it's more safe for that is basically more safe for who's giving the certificate to you. So here this was for each.
Sir, you are muted.
So again, for donor, you should not, because it's a very again gray area. The donor, you cannot retrieve more than 7 oocytes. The purpose here from the Medical Ethics Committee and the Central Act was that not to overstimulate the donor, because the law came because of 3 facts: safety of donors, safety of surrogacy. Third, middleman, they were agents, they were making the money, and that was malpractice. So those 3 aspects, we are always, the government is concerned. So again, donor safety is very important, because we present many papers. Dr. Purnima is here. In ASHRAE, if you'll go, a lot of studies have done. So there was a question, one full workshop on the ASHRAE, that what is the optimum number of, Dr. Monica is there, what is an optimum number of oocyte to give a maximum cumulative pregnancy rate for a couple. So that figure was 10 to 15 oocytes. If oocytes number are between 10 to 15, that is ideal for a maximum cumulative pregnancy rate. Cumulative means once fresh cycles and 2 or 3 cycles more of frozen cycle. So if you consider that, the oocyte 7 is less. But being here, government want, whether you don't conceive in first cycle, go for second cycle. If you don't get pregnancy with one donor, select the other donor, you can pay, because there's no limitation for a donor. You can change A, B, C, 3. and number of donor cycles. So that is also not there. So sometimes in coming years, if the people are very rich, they might go for 10 oocyte cycles. And so that is also now, touch wood, luckily we have not come a ceiling, a upper limit, that you cannot, how many cycles you can do for oocyte donation, or how many cycles you can do for surrogacy. Because India, it's not like a China. The child limitation is not there. That was a part, like Shah Rukh Khan, when he took a surrogacy, many people told that why they have already 2 children, why he went to surrogacy. So the Indian government, I say, the article of freedom, they are free to have a number of children. So that is there. Now I'll be going to the next. Then a bank, now coming to the bank. Bank shall obtain all the necessary information, because the donor cycle, whether it's sperm or egg, has to come through the bank. So it's a bank duty to get the safety, age, all documentation, but don't blindly. If a oocyte donor is 17 year, 18 year, you have taken with the law, with the false document, even the ART bank was not knowing, the ART bank people was kept in dark. But when the case will go, ART bank will also come in the part, and you will also come in the part, because you cannot say it was a duty of ART bank. They might ask, you're a doctor, you can do a minor mistake. A patient can be 21 year, 22 year, or 20 year, but the patient was 17 year. So see, there you are put in the court, because you know, and especially in that case, Dr. Y did not have a second thing, because my son, who is now in MBBS 3rd year in AIMS, he was a state and national swimming champion. So in swimming, the state authority, they used to take the aging, because in swimming, what the smart children, their age is suppose 15 years, they will make it 13 years. So they do all the epiphysis, teething, and all X-rays, and they come, a board gives a tentative age. So that is there. So when the forensic medicine and the legal medicine has come with the age, so why we should come in that part? Okay, na? So that is another question. Then insurance coverage. So age and then the insurance. The donor has to come with the insurance of 12 months, and the surrogates had to be at least 3 years. So, but the government has not told the part. That because I'm in the MP state board member, in the last board meeting, just because Madhya Pradesh is the first state which started the processing of surrogates. After me, now many states have started, like Delhi, Gujarat, and Rajasthan and all. So in the first what it was little teething trouble was there. So insurance, I was in the committee, and my health secretary I told him, sir, the insurance is only 3 lakhs. It should be of comfortable, it should be more. So because it's only a few thousand, because it's roughly, if you're taking 3 lakhs, the couple has to pay 3,000. So if it is 5 lakh, 5,000. So safety is, because if the surrogate gets admit in a ICU of PIH or anything, or a donor has got some ovarian infection or any during pickup and all, so ICU bed is roughly costing 10 to 20,000 per day without medicines. So I told it should be upper highway. So he told me smiley, Dr. Randir, what the act says. Does the act mention the amount? Like, no, sir. Then go ahead. It is the people who has to say. I will not stop. So I think gradual time we should go for insurance part also. The amount should be that much that the patient can afford a good ICU care, because the aim is to save the life of both the donor as well as the surrogate mother. Then who can be oocyte donor? Can she be a relative?
Dr. Ranjit, we can stop the panel whenever the panelists want, because it is now hardcore ART.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you can take the opinion of panelists, because
Dr. Lata, Dr. Niharika, and Anupriya. So I think we are going to close it. So now earlier it was that oocyte donor, before the act it was that only you have to be relative or alloistic. So now what just I want from panel.
I think you can be related, sir, now. I think it can be both altruistic and related also. So they can bring their donor, I think.
So that's there. But it has to be through ART bank only.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important.
And the second question, sir, can she donate again? So this is again like the sperm thing, multiple types. So this I'm again not clear.
Yeah, no, they cannot donate. They cannot donate.
One oocyte donor only can donate once.
One cycle, yeah.
Once in a lifetime.
So that is
answer.
why they are now trying to get the even the the digital identities and
Okay.
fingerprints and all those
Yeah.
So Dr. Monica,
biometries and
yeah.
biometric markers.
So that's there because we are going to have, like in PCP entity in MP, they are trying to come with the MP online. So every patient, every doctor will have a thumb, every patient will have OTP. So we are opposing to that. So it will be very, because it's again it will be a problem, because if somebody if a family comes, that why the elderly patient came, her husband died, he was some in army and all, and she has sperm frozen, and she did a IVF cycle in Punjab, and she did not conceive. So we advised her for egg donation and sperm donation. So she told, no, I want from my own genes. My all relatives are IAS and all these intellectuals. So sometimes what I'm saying, if they don't have any sister or only one sister is there and she want to donate, and because of ethical practice, so I think these all will be the law which will go. I think Dr. Jyoti, with along with the Foxy president and Isar will go, and because there are situations they should be allowed, at least family should be allowed with oocyte donation and all, because genetic material matters. So that will be going. That is important. So, as answered well properly by Dr. Lata and Niharika, that any altruistic donor is allowed now. The oocyte can be shared with more than one commissioning couple, though it cannot be done. According to clause, the oocyte donor may donate only once. So, they are there. Can the egg donor collect money from the couple? This is very important.
No.
Now, if
No.
No.
Only the
No.
insurance for the next 1 year. That's
then who will do it? Because the only friends and the relatives will donate, because if you're not paying the money.
Maybe
Then how it will survive? How the project will survive, how the treatment will survive.
Yeah.
So there is a one loophole that ART bank can, with the help of commissioning couple, can collect money with the loss of that couple, that oocyte donor. Suppose oocyte donor is earning 10,000 or 20,000 per month, and because of oocyte donation cycle, she is not able to join for 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. Like we give antenatal maternity leave for the government 3 months, calculated during the delivery and all. So I think if the oocyte bank is asking 3 months, 1 month prior to donation, 1 month cycle, and 3 months. So 3 months into her earning is now legally allowed.
So,
So
but practically speaking, won't this actually make it very difficult for the ART bank people to actually get donors?
No. So this is a practical point, and people are doing, and they are not touching this point. They should put in the touch point. That's what just it came in my mind. Just I saw Jyoti Banglowala on that Zoom, that now all the legal part I'll be touching to you, because you are the initial part. Then you are a compiling pyramid ka base hai. फिर ऊपर तक जाते जाते tanks are hai. Then we'll go to health ministry. So this, because we have to survive, because Jyoti, you are not ART clinician much, but this will be problem coming on, because so in maternity leave, all individuals, all female who are working, they get a leave, paid leave. So I think it's the same paid leave paid by the commissioning couple. So easily you can get a 3 months. And इसमें एक और चीज है, 3 months की salary plus उसका खाना पीना plus उसका रहना. So suppose a patient comes, उसकी सैलरी सपोज 50 मंथ है, पर 50,000 है, तो 1.5 लाख वो हो गया. आई एम ए लॉयर, आई कैन प्रूव इन दिस कोर्ट. हर अर्निंग वाज 50,000. Then she had to stay at center Bhopal or Indore for 1 month. So 1 month hotel bill 10,000 per month, 3 lakhs. Food per day 2 से 3,000. So you can easily club 5 lakhs for a donor with a proper documentation. See, but out of your 5 lakhs, out of 10 donors, they will come to know. See, like ED and CBI done by the central government, Modi, to everybody, why the politicians are changing their parties from here and there because of fear. In my Madhya Pradesh also, there was senior, CM Kamal Nath was going here and there. So threat. So whatever you prove in the bill, so all donor are earning 50,000 per month. All they are staying at the hotel, all they are eating a good food of 5-star, 3-star. So that's a question mark. So, but you can take a minimum for this. What take home message is there? कि आराम से आप कोई भी महिला जो काम करती है उसको 10-15 हज़ार पर मंथ सैलरी, 10-15 हज़ार का खाना, 10-15 हज़ार का रहना, इन 3 चीज पे डॉक्टर ज्योति वी कैन टेक. ठीक, दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट.
You were speaking in Hindi, so I hope everybody understood.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes, yes.
We are
Actually,
having lot-
Anupriya, Lata, Niharika, everybody is actually well versed with Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just wondering because sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
We
So,
every people have a habit of speaking in Hindi in between, right?
yeah. So, can the recipient couple know the egg donor identity?
No.
Yes, they can.
No.
No. Unless it is like relative, I don't think otherwise.
No, nowadays you can bring your own relatives, so you know the identity.
Yeah. Other than that, but if they're actually getting it from the bank, they are not supposed to disclose.
But Dr.
But
Niharika,
new laws, I think they permit
They must
the
know who
identity.
is the donor and what is her.
Yeah, Dr. Lata and Priya, actually there's a loophole again. They have not said anything. They have said that the confidentiality has to be maintained. So what is that basically? The ART, the couple has to sign the insurance. Insurance part is done by the couple. So on the insurance, you cannot write blank, na? Ki Mrs. X ka insurance hum kara rahe hain for 3. So he's going to come to know the donor because of the insurance. So what the law here says that let the couple know who is the donor, but वो जाके पूरी जगह he should not go and announce to the society that the
That she has donated.
donor's
Such a
husband, donor's
person
relative
is
that
doing.
she's donating. Yeah, so it's her right, human right of secrecy.
Yes.
So that has to be maintained. Yeah, so that is basically we had a long discussion with Nitish and we
So
came to that.
I think you can wind up, Dr. Randeep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be doing so. My last question. Okay, we'll be donating now. I'll going to my conclusion. Yeah. With the implementation of Act, the sector will become more organized. Jyoti, ध्यान से सुनो. You have to listen very properly. You are now future medical legal and future then after 5 or 10 year Foxy president. This sector will become more organized. Quality of treatment will improve. Legal protection to the all stakeholders. National registry will be possible with the honesty, but lot of gray areas. Injustice to couple who cannot conceive based on the age and marital status. If I am there, I'll put all my money, land, ghar, bangla, everything, and I'll go to the Supreme Court. Because in last 25 years of my practice, I'm saying, if you have a lakhs of crores of money in your pocket, if you don't have a child, childless couple, they are penniless. Burden of documentation, registration, inspection, and fees. That's the part of going, because now digitalization is coming on. This was initial a part in the abroad. Our seniors who went to the USMLE and USA, they used to tell me, I know my seniors, they if they are earning suppose 1 lakh per month, they have to pay 50 lakhs to the 50% to the insurance company. So what they used to do, they 5 people operate together. This month, one name was there, so only they saved that money. So documentation is going to pay. You have to pay for insurance, so you have to make the alternatives. Then make it cumbersome and frustrating to the clinician and couple. Yeah, treatment becomes more expensive. As I gave example of just simple sperm donor, which was costing 2.5 to 3,000. Now it's costing 5 times more. How we can reduce it? By giving a good documentation. Why you're restricting to only 1 or 2, 3 child when we have seen in our ancestors, grandfathers, they were not IQ less, they were not inferior IQ. So the medical disease advances says that also. Then social implication when it comes to donor created programs. Severe punishments making it like a criminal act, because in the RT Act, it is not that criminal, it is a bailable offense. But in surrogacy, it's non-bailable. If somebody says that Dr. Randeep Singh has told one surrogate that I'm going to give you this, I can give you a boy or female just because that person is jealous to me, he will create me in the court, and then I'll be unnecessary trouble, like it is in 376. What 376 says? The victim, the person who has been charged has to prove himself that he is not the culprit. So again, here in this also is that I have to prove that I'm not a culprit. So that we will be fighting that, because now a lot of surrogacy will come than that. Then interpretation of the law. Many loopholes are there, like one donor cycle sperm donor to one couple, whether they till become pregnant or not. So that is a loophole. Then there are many points that are not clear, which need to be clarified. So ART law needs more of the things. So thanks everybody. So I think, yeah.
Yeah. So we can stop the screen share now. No, there are
Yeah,
few
yeah.
more slides, no? Yeah, few more slides are there, Dr. Vishal. But before
Yeah,
that,
Vishal.
we
Vishal,
can smile for the camera and take a nice screenshot. Manisha will take. Okay, Vishal, let us come
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
end of the webinar. Thank you all so much. And my
You have
humble appeal
150 participants.
for Chairperson Perinatology Committee, I'll be contesting in the month of May. My humble appeal to all my dear faculty for giving it a thought and remembering me at the time of nominations. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti, for this platform. Thank you, Purnima and Manisha, for the wonderful cooperation. Thank you all, dear panelists, chairpersons, moderators, speakers, our Foxy star faculty, and of course, Team Intaz for the wonderful inputs from the studio and the wonderful tech support. And we sign off now.
yeah,
Till we meet again.
and
Yeah.
we'll be getting all. And one I'll add to everyone that all our perfection series and symbiosis series. Perfection is with SR. Symbiosis is with the Foxy. We have a YouTube recording of all, because sometimes when I was in flight, when I had a doubt, I used to say Nitish Mudia's article in my flight YouTube. So that is important. So we'll be sharing all the YouTube recording of all
Anybody
the.
who wants the YouTube link of any Symbiosis webinar or perfection series, we have now a collection of more than 20. Can contact me, Manisha or Purnima for the same. And looking forward to seeing you again. If any of you is interested in male infertility, we are going to discuss male infertility in great detail on 29th of February. That is last date of February between 4 to 7 p.m. And we have the best speakers in India for the same. Thank you so
And
much.
Dr. Jyoti, you can compile all these in YouTube, because by the end of your tenure, all
I
this should be.
know you are always there. You know, when I was started reading ART Act, you are the person who gave me all the insight about the ART Act.
We had a lot of enlightenment today about ART, even though we are not ART practitioners. So thank you, all of us. Thank you.
Niharika, we have heard such wonderful words, such wonderful. You know, Niharika, when I was making the panel, Dr. Jyoti specially messaged me, ki, Monica, please include Niharika from my side. So I think you are very dear to her, and everyone is very dear to me, right from the first person who sat for the webinar at quarter
No,
two.
actually, I saw all the favorite ones. I saw Anupriya is so close to me. Neelam madam. Actually, I saw everybody, and then I thought, "Arey, मेरी निहारिका रह गई है." Because
Dr.
thank
Jyoti,
you.
Dr. Jyoti, now 40,000 Foxians are all close to your heart.
Yes, yes. Actually, Anupriya, Pankaj madam, Neelam madam, Anjana madam, they all actually supported me like anything. When I was contesting for ethics and medical legal committee, whenever I called them, मुझे तभी भी actually वो उनको भूल गए होंगे, but I actually अभी भी मुझे याद है जिसको भी फोन करा, इतना politely they said कि yes madam, we will support you.
आजकल अब नेक्स्ट आई थिंक देखो सबको प्रैक्टिस करना है, एंड एमसी पटेल सर आल्सो टोल्ड, भास्कर पाल आल्सो टोल्ड दैट, और जयदीप टैंक सर का मैं पर्सनली नहीं बोल पाया, बस मोनिका टच्ड इट. लॉ डराता नहीं है. वी शुड नॉट गेट फियर ऑफ लॉ, बट वी शुड बी अवेयर.
Actually, Randir, this is the first time the medical legal committee is doing so much of webinars. Previously, the people they are thinking about even the MTP law, which is a very common law, and they are thinking about the 1972 laws only. They are knowing about the MTP law of the 1972. उसके बाद 3 बार amendment हुए, उनको पता ही नहीं है, वो वही पूछते हैं. So this is actually best thing. Best thing this is to create awareness.
एंड ज्योति, आपका दो काम है. वन काम तो जो लॉ प्रेजेंट है सबको बताना, दूसरा जो कमी है, जो हमको सूट नहीं कर रहा है, उसको हम लड़के लेना।
जरूर आप
That is
सबका
all
साथ
part of
रहेगा,
it.
आपका सबका साथ रहेगा तो जरूर होगा। थैंक यू ऑल द डेलीगेट्स आल्सो। एक्चुअली देयर आर सो मेनी, 180 तक तो मैंने ही पूछा था, देयर आर सो मेनी लॉग्ड इन।
Thank you, ma'am, for giving Sitamarhi Society the opportunity to be part
Yes,
of this
yes,
program.
yes. Lata madam and Anju madam,
Yes,
actually
yes.
Sitamarhi
This is the
Society.
first
Thank
time
you,
we
ma'am.
are associated with the Bhopal Society. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes. And we will keep
Thank you,
getting
Lata.
associated, madam.
Thank you,
We
Lata
will
ma'am.
keep
Thank you, Niharika. Thank you, Anjana ma'am.
Bye, bye. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Bye.
Thank you, Mom. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vishal.
Thank you, madam. Last slide बच गई।
Last slide बच गई? कौन सी slide बच गई?
Thank you वाली।
Thank you वाली। Thank you हमारे दिल से आ रहा है ना?
Okay.
चलो,
Thank you.
okay, bye bye, good night.